right, welcome everyone to another exciting episode of Two Bar Connections with your host Jesse and
James. What's going on, everybody?
What is going on indeed, right? So for today's episode, we're actually going to be mixing things up a little bit. So I'm not going to be blabbing my mouth off as much anymore since I've had to delegate work since my personal life has now gotten a lot more busy with classes and stuff. But for the actual stories, we have the Game Freak leaks, which has led to some very interesting discoveries on the side of Game Freak. We also have a story with Bandai Namco. Apparently, they have been making some major cuts and losing their minds. Apparently, they have been practically locking people, their employees, in rooms so that they can voluntarily resign since Japan's layoff laws are so strict. We also have a story concerning Warhammer update, which pissed everyone off, but has also received an update to the update. We also have the God of War show going through some troubles as it lost its writer and its showrunner. And we also have the Blade movie also in trouble yet again and has been put on indefinite hold and will not be released in 2025. We also have Asmongold in hot water after some comments about Palestine that he made and he got banned off Twitch because of it. We also have a story about Shawn Layden, former CEO of Sony Gaming, and also have other developers weighing in on the AAA industry and what's been going on lately with all the craziness that's been happening around it. And we also have famed Final Fantasy composer Uematsu, I forgot his first name now, it's announced his retirement after the release of Neo Fantasia, which he's working over at Mistwalker. But before we get into all that, how are you?
I've been all right, man. It's been really busy for the both of us. I have been actually, you've inspired me to take up studying for the GRE once again, and it fucking sucks. But I just started with it, and I'm just gonna keep chugging along and try to see if I could take it sometime like in March. But I've been actually working on job applications, and I have 3 interviews coming up, 2 of which are back home, and one of them is at the hospital your dad used to work at.
Okay. Will they be in person or online interviews?
It'll be in Zoom. However, the third one, which will be, I'm actually flying out to go tour the hospital. I'm also using it as like an excuse to go visit Aislinn.
Okay.
And yeah, so but they actually are like, oh well, I mean, if you're, if you'd like, we really like for you to tour the hospital. And I'm like, oh well, I've never had, somebody take me on a tour of a hospital before. It's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
But
okay.
But yeah, so I have 3 interviews. One's tomorrow, one's Tuesday, and then next Monday is the one I'm flying towards. So I was actually studying up a little bit because one of them is an ICU specifically dedicated to neurological patients. So I'll be dealing with a lot of neuro, brain injuries, spine injuries, altered mental status, hydrocephalus, and all that stuff. So I'll be doing that. And then the second one, it'll be a much more broad ICU that handles multiple modalities, they call it, which is kind of what I do now. I kind of get everything in my unit. And then the third one, the one I'm flying to, will be specifically for cardiac, like specifically a cardiac ICU unit, like a CCU, which would be cool because that's actually the area that I wish I had more experience in. But like the heart is such a well-researched and such a focused specialty that they've kind of streamlined the whole process to the point where they have a whole intensive care unit just dedicated to everything heart related. So, heart transplants, heart bypass surgeries, that kind of thing.
Oh, wow, it's really cool. Okay, damn.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had that many. Holy shit, congrats, man. To get that far, it's an accomplishment of itself.
Thanks. No, I appreciate it, dude. I mean, I know this is kind of a cliche to say, but I've literally been pulling my hair out over
my metaphorical hair.
Metaphorical hair. No, honestly, like my poor beard.
Honestly, your beard.
Yes, dude. I'm just like just kind of like twirling it and shit, Gandalfing it, and which is why my beard gets patchy. I've gotten better at it, but
okay.
Yeah, but still, I've been pulling my hair out, just because it's huge. It's a huge because I have to move again, But but I don't know where I'll be moving to because my time here, I've had a lot of great memories and I've done a lot, but I've just kind of reached a point where I've plateaued here. Like there's nothing more I can do, there's nothing more I can learn, and yeah, and that's pretty much it. So I was reading up on videos to study specifically for neurological issues, but it's not a huge deal. I'm just nervous for the actual interview itself, and then that's pretty much it.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, no, yeah. Sorry, that's really the big thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with the
But
GRE specifically, like, why did you? I mean, I know I inspired you, but surely, like, there's other reasons for it too.
oh yeah. Oh well. Okay, so the ultimate goal is to attend the CRNA programs, and a lot of programs are starting to rescind the GRE as a requirement because it's not really, it won't really say, it doesn't, it's no longer indicative, at least in the case of CRNA school. It's no longer indicative of future success in this program. They now are looking for other things that are more indicative of success, like qualifications, experiences, certifications that you go out of your way to grab, which I've done.
Yeah, I know you have. I feel like you're taking a new
Yes, I have.
certification every week. Every time we have an
Yeah,
episode, you're doing a new one.
dude, I have a laundry list of certifications. So those are more indicative of. So they've been removing their requirements slowly but surely. However, some schools still require it, and so I don't think I'll be getting into a program this year. So for the next application cycle, I want to have a good GRE score so I can expand which schools I'm going to apply to.
Okay.
And
And
that,
oh,
yeah.
sorry. You finish your thought?
No. That's it. That
Okay.
was my thought.
Well, for the GRE, it's like math and reading and shit like that. Science,
Math, reading, and writing. No science.
no science. Okay. So
No
math.
science.
So math, reading, and writing.
Yeah, math, reading, and writing. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a I forgot what it is. I think it's a max score of 320, and they combine the what's called the verbal and the quantitative, which is math and reading, and then the writing score, which is its own separate thing that they grade on a scale from 1 to 6, kind of like what they used to do with the FCAT. That one's not super important. I mean, unless you're applying to like an English program or like an English graduate program, but it'll really mostly just be the math that I'm gonna have problems with. The verbal, I'm pretty okay with, but the point is to not get the highest score, but to score higher in the percentile for that class of people that took that test, like on the same day or that same week.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
which it kind of makes sense because that's the same principle that these people are. That's the same principle that these people are applying to GPAs. So the minimum GPA to get in is 3.0 or 3.5, but the aggregate, like the average of the applying class is like 3.7, 3.8, and that's really who you're competing against. So so that's why sometimes you can't go by what the minimum requirement is. You have to go by what the people around you have because that's who you're competing against for the spot.
Okay. Okay. All right. And I see for on the gaming, I saw you on that Valheim now, huh?
Yeah, well, the same people that I've been playing Phasmophobia with convinced me to get Valheim, and dude, I gotta tell you something. Coffee Stain Studios, the publishers of Deep Rock and Satisfactory,
Uh huh.
dude, these fuckers don't miss. Like everything they put out is certified banger after banger, and especially now since Norse mythology is all the rage, that is straight up Norse mythos world building, and it's great. It's awesome. Um, as
So,
you
so,
yeah,
so like, it's like, what is it that you do in the game? Because I know it's like it's kind of like it's a survival game, but like like every survival game kind of like has their own thing, or they try to do their own thing to differentiate it. So like, what makes this Valheim different from most other ones? I know you haven't played that many, but from what you gather.
well, from what I gathered, it's essentially it's kind of like Minecraft where you pick up supplies, and it's a survival crafting game. So you have to find with a day and night cycle, you got to make a bed to sleep in. You got to cook food, but not to survive. It's mostly to give you buffs, but the buffs are so important that I'm so sorry. I got some. I think I swallowed down the wrong pipe. But it's mostly due for survival purposes, and they're that important. Because if not, you see that health bar that's at 25, and the stamina bar that's at like 50 when he's running. Oh, you'll see it now when he sprints. Hang on, just give it a minute. But you start off super low, and the only way to get them higher is to eat food that increase your stamina and increase your health. And then when the food runs out, the buff disappears. So you'll go from having like 120 stamina to 50, and then you're there trying to fight, and you're like, "What the fuck is going on?" And look, it's even got the Minecraft punching tree mechanic, as you can see. So
you can just punch trees. It's funny.
Yeah, well, in the beginning, at least. But yeah, man, it's fun. It's fun mostly with people. Like I would never play this game by myself.
Yeah, I can't imagine myself playing something like this.
Yeah, and also true. Yeah, and also true to the nature of Coffee Stain and all their games, or most of their games rather, the world is procedurally generated. So it's literally a whole new map every single time you load in a new seed, which in a way is kind of like Minecraft. I mean, they're definitely not the first to do it. Minecraft did it first, but they take inspiration from that.
Okay, yeah. Coffee Stain really is. They really do slap. Like they really have a good eye for what games will be good. Because they got, of course, Deep Rock, right?
Of course, everyone knows Deep Rock.
Rock and Stone, baby, right? This game is freaking
Hell
awesome.
Yeah.
It's like the second best co-op shooter ever behind Left 4 Dead, of course, which is the GOAT. But
yeah,
Deep Rock is an amazing game. And then Deep Rock Survivors is also really fun too. I played the demo for it for Next Fest a little while ago. I don't think the demo's available anymore. I know it's on early access, but it's really fun. It's like it's Vampire Survivors, but with Deep Rock. And normally, like I would be like, oh, like really, you're gonna chase a trend here, but it's actually really fun, right? I think it helps that it's Deep Rock, so like I'll be more lenient on it because it's a property that I really like. But they do a good job at like implementing the like the mining mechanics. So they put like shit in your way, and you have to like mine through materials so you can actually get the upgrades and stuff, and also so you can avoid the enemies as well, so you can mine through everything. And then what is it? This game now, Valheim, and then Deep Rock like Rogue Core will come out. I'm sure that's gonna slap probably.
I'm actually very curious to see how that's going to work because I've never played a roguelike, so to have a roguelike in a Deep Rock fashion, I think will be a nice introduction into the what do you call it, genre
is
game?
Is it a roguelike? Did they ever say what it is?
Well, that's what they if you look on their Steam page, I mean it's also in the name as well, Rogue Core. But they did say that it was going to be a roguelike. Let me you want to look that up real quick so we can see it. See. Yeah, so the main difference is the roguelike game structure.
Okay,
so you start. I'm reading this off the Steam page. You start each mission with only the very basics, but as you progress, you'll get upgrades, equipment, and abilities. Oh, it's funny. They even differentiate it. It's like, this is actually a roguelite. This is not roguelite. So, yeah. But I'm excited. And the fact that it's going to be essentially more of the same Deep Rock co-op brilliance. Oh, and also Satisfactory, which is an amazing factory building game.
Oh, yes. I know.
Which by the way, just released 1.0. So it is now like fully released. And yeah, that's a really good game.
Yeah, and I saw the reviews for it. It's insane. It's got like it's like in the 90s or something for Metacritic. Something like that. And wow, that's like people are like, yeah, this could be like this could be like indie game of the year contender. Probably gonna be nominated for some stuff because it's just that amazing. And,
yeah, it is.
And what little bit I played, I did like quite a bit.
Yeah, it is, and also it's addicting. The whole factory building mechanic. I actually played it a lot when I first started nursing school, and that's when everything was on Zoom. So my professors would be giving lecture on my laptop, and on my gaming computer, I'm building fucking factories. And
laser mineral deposits. Like, oh yeah.
Absolutely. Oh man, it's so addicting.
You have all these neurotransmitters, and you're just mining away.
It's like, neurotransmitters, nursing interventions, how to turn your patient, blah blah blah. And I'm here like, I need coal. I can automate this truck to go get the coal that I'm mining over on this side of the map and then automatically come this way. Oh hell yeah, dude! When I automated my coal plant to have just perpetual energy, oh man, I was like, oh. It's so addicting and it's so much
Sublime.
fun. And I've always wanted to play it because I talked about it with Manny. But at the time, it was still in early access, and the multiplayer, at least from what I've seen in the warnings, it said that the multiplayer was still buggy. So be careful playing it. But Manny says that even like in the later stages, like right before the 1.0 release, the multiplayer was fine. So I've always wanted to play. So if you do grab it, please let me know. It's definitely a nice game to chill. I actually have fond memories of playing that game while watching Monk on my laptop. I'm telling you, it's a vibe. It's a vibe game.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I could probably use a vibe game. Whoa, oh man. Whew. Oh.
You good, man? We all got gas.
No, I got gas. Yep. Well, I had my Terabyte before getting on because we had some left over from the party.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Oh, and how were sorry, I've like dominated this conversation, but how are you doing? How's everything going with you?
Yeah, so I'm doing all right. I've also been very busy, just like you.
Yeah.
Taking my LSAT prep classes. I took my practice test today. They gave me a lot of homework this week, right? Which is why I had to delegate what I delegated with you. We pretty much split the stories in half between you and I. Because, there was no way I was going to be able to work and, do the homework at the same time and also help prepare for my cousin's baptismal celebration because he got baptized yesterday. And then we had a little celebration here with my whole family. Yeah, and it was, a lot of prep work. I had to move tables around and shit, the usual.
Yep.
And then on top of that, I had to do homework. And then and then the next day, I had to wake up early, right, to go to work. And then I had to, I go home. Normally, I take a nap after I work on a Saturday. But I can't do that because my whole family's here, so I'm not going to take a nap and be rude. I'm going to be outside and socialize, and, that's draining. And then you can finally do some homework, which I did. And then today I took my practice test, and I got an improvement on my score, which is good. It's only a 5-point improvement, but it's something.
Pennies count, man.
I am now at the average of what would be a LSAT score. It was a 147 that I had before, which is below average, and then now it's 152. The biggest thing, man, is the time. It's just it's very hard to do everything in time. Like I didn't even finish the test. Like I just put C was my lucky letter for the day, so I just picked C for everything. When I'm like, I answered 20 questions. I still have 7 more to go. Okay, and I have 30 seconds. C. That's it.
Is that a legit test taking strategy?
Yeah, you always have a 1 in 5 chance. Even for your GRE, you could just do that, right? If you're running out of time, just go fuck it. This is my lucky letter of the day. B, right? C, D, whatever. So yeah, definitely worked improvement with that. I'm happy with whatever little improvements I can get. But I'm definitely going to have to start picking up the my studying because I'm pretty much just doing the minimum, which is, my homework and stuff. And but I'm looking at it's funny that you mentioned the GRE scores and stuff, getting to admissions for grad school. And I'm looking at like the stuff that the schools I want to go to, like this kind of scores and the GPAs that people getting in have, and that's what I have to compete with. And the GPA front, like I can't compete with it, dude. I had a good GPA, but like you have motherfuckers going to like 3.7, 3.8. It's like what the fuck?
Yeah,
I think I had like a 3.5. I think when I graduated.
Yeah,
I had a 3.5 or 3.49. Like I was like borderline 3.5 or A. It was high. Like that's still pretty good. But then you got people, 3.7, 3.8, who are freaking study masters and gods at school.
No, seriously, study masters getting like 4.7s, like above the limit, while also performing missions for charity in like Haiti or some shit. It's like, how do you find the time? Like, how do you do that? I mean, good for them, but fuck, it's so hard to compete with that shit. It's so I get it.
And I mean, yeah, it's pretty much been like personal stuff that I've been doing. And as for the gaming stuff, the Steam Next Fest was actually just this past week, and so I did get some demos in. I didn't play too many stuff, and I didn't want to like highlight everything that I played. I just wanted to highlight the most significant stuff. So wait, hold on, let me close this. All right, so the first one that I played was This was a game that was actually shown at like one of the PS Plays State of Plays like a while ago. It was like a double A sort of like anime Dark Souls game. It's called AI Limit. And
AI Limit, okay.
yeah, it's called AI Limit, and it's actually a pretty good game. Yes, you can see it's a very legit Dark Souls strat right here. Just
Yeah.
because this guy fucks you up. This is a tutorial level. Like you're not supposed to really fight him. You're supposed to grab an item and then just run. You can't fight him, but you'll get fucked up. Like you get like, two-shotted. But this is a really interesting game because it does things to set itself apart from other Souls games. Because lots of the time when someone says, "Oh, like I made another Souls game," like, yeah, buddy, okay, you and like every other other kid on the block. If it's not a Souls like, it's gonna be a freaking roguelike deck builder or a roguelike, right? It's gonna be a like something, right? Because I'll be damned like if you have an original idea. I almost spilled my water bottle. Okay, that would have been very bad if I filled my tower.
Yes,
thank God it's closed.
Yeah.
But personally, it starts off kind of standard, Soul stuff. But it has no stamina bar, which is the first thing I noticed. So it's actually very interesting. Now, what it does have is it has that. You see that bar at the bottom, that glowing bar?
Yeah.
So that's what they call your sync rate, and every time you attack, your sync rate goes up. And as your sync rate goes up, your attack power also goes up. But then every time you get hit, or every time like you block an attack, your sync rate goes down and your damage goes down. And then on top of that, you have spells, which also use up your sync rate. So you have like this kind of flow where like you're trying to hit them without them hitting you, so you can build up your sync rate, and then you cash it out like on spells or something. And the game does a good job at like introducing mechanics at first. I'm like, it's kind of bare bones. Like, I'm not sure, like, if there's anything interesting beyond like dodging. Because at first it's like, wow, I can only dodge stuff. Like, I can't even block. Okay, it'd be nice if there would be, some kind of new mechanics, new defensive mechanics. And then later on, you get a parry. Actually,
oh,
yeah, they get
that's
like
right up my alley.
Yep, but it's not like like a Sekiro parry. It's like a huge commitment. Let me see if I can find it here. I think it's around this spot. Like you find what's called a memory, and you relive a memory, and it's called a counter field. So you see here, he's gonna try and parry. It has like a wind up to it. Oh, he's not parrying. Okay, never mind. Come on, buddy, you gotta parry. But so it has like a startup to it. So it's like a wind up where like your hand glows blue, and then like she does like forward push, and then when the push is active, that's when the parry is actually there, and it'll knock most enemy down. It's like in a single hit, like that, right? That's your parry. So it has a little bit of wind up. So you don't like do it like as soon as they attack. You do it like a half a second before. Okay. And then I'm like, well, this is kind of cool. And then later on, you get a shield. So you can actually choose between either doing the parry or the shield. And the shield, if you block, it'll build up energy. And then if you double tap the shield button, you can actually like do like a big like punch. Okay. That'll do like a shitload of damage and knock them down. So you can like alternate between the two defensive styles. And of course, you have the spells on top of it as well. So it's really interesting that I think it did a really good job at building itself up, and it had pretty good combat. The only thing is that it's kind of slow. Like the character's very slow. You would think it'd be a lot faster, but it's just not. And it's also very stubby too. So like this guy's using a great sword, so he probably didn't have too much range problems. But I was using like these dual blade swords, and they were super stubby. Like I was doing the charged R2 attack, and she travels like 6 inches forward. And it's funny because she does like this big like flippy dippy bullshit, and she just lands like a foot in front of her. Like, come on, man, really? You couldn't leap like a few more feet?
Yeah. Well, I mean, characters moving slow. At least for me, I've noticed that seems to be that's a staple of the Souls-like genre.
Well, I mean, even within Dark Souls itself, they sped it up with every game. Like Dark Souls 1 is the slowest one, and Dark Souls 2 is a little bit faster, and Dark Souls 3 is a little bit faster, and then Elden Ring is pretty fast comparatively speaking. And then a lot of the Souls likes, they tend to speed things up. Like Lies of P is a little bit faster than, it's probably like somewhere in between, like 3 and Elden Ring, probably maybe a little faster than Elden Ring. But like the natural evolution is usually just speed up the combat a little bit, whereas it's a lot more deliberate. Which I don't mind. I more mind the stubbiness of it. I just don't like how stubby everything is. At least with the swords I was using. And also, it seems like this game took a page out of Nier Automata because it also has a big booty Robo Girl as its protagonist. So, like,
Hey, could have fooled me. She's hiding it. Like,
oh, y'all, trust me, dude. There's
It's there?
I got a few peeks eyes when you go up the tter. I mean, we're not gonna see it. I'm not that much of a gooner. I'm not gonna be like, oh, enhance. I'm gonna see the booty, right? So, we're not gonna push on the.
all I want to know. Listen, man. All I want is the polygon count.
Okay,
That's all I want. The
well, this is like some AA game made some Chinese studio, so I mean, they can only afford so much so far. You know, not everyone can be Black Myth Wukong.
Hey, man. Hey. Black with Wukong, I think, was an appetizer for what's to come. So we'll see.
And that's for
any other.
I'm sorry, what you say?
Okay. No, I was gonna say any other games.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So the next game is a survival horror game called Sorry We're Closed, which like a really psychedelic, like I guess punk. I don't know what the aesthetic I would say, but as you can see, like everyone looks kind of like punkish, like that tattoos and like urban wear and stuff. And it's kind of like Silent Hill and Resident Evil, but I don't know if you remember a game called Killer 7.
Yes, I do. Like, I have a vague like childhood memory of that.
Yeah, so do you remember like how in Killer 7 you had to aim in first person to fight the monsters? It was third person, but you fought in first person.
I don't remember that one too much.
Okay, well it was like it's like that. You'll see now.
Okay.
When it happens, right? But the game starts off with like you play as this girl Michelle, and then you went through like some kind of I guess like she's mourning the death of her girlfriend because your neighbor's like, hey man, you got to get over her or something, or like maybe like broke up or whatever. But then she gets, but then she gets haunted by this demon that's here, that freaky demon that you just saw right now, right? Yes, that lovely thing, and it sends her to like an alternate dimension, and she comes across her neighbor who's apparently a demon hunter as well. And she gives you like a gun, and so it's like, all right, here you go, get a gun. We're gonna go shoot shit. Right? So the demo opens up with you here, like in like a fucked up version of like a subway station or whatever. And you know, so it's like that. You fight in first person, but it's in third person, like when you're navigating around. So it's got like that interesting blend. So I can see the game has a lot of style. Like it looks like it's that PS1 aesthetic, but also it's kind of psychedelic. Like the axe looks really fucking weird.
Yeah, that actually
eyeball really, and like fleshy stuff, and then it's like these crazy colors on the side and graffiti. And yeah, like it's pretty standard. Well, I wouldn't say standard because it does have unique mechanics. Like you see that aura that she activates that's her what they call the third eye. Yeah, when you activate the third eye, it helps you see things that are around you that are hidden, but it also reveals enemy weak points.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And that's how you can kill them a lot faster. But you can only do it while they're inside of it. So you can't shoot them from super far away. You have to let them get really close. And obviously, if they get really close, like you're in danger of getting hit. So there's like a risk reward to it. It's like, okay, do I want to like save ammo and like hit their weak points with this thing? Or,
like that.
Yeah, like that. It also freezes them. So like if you flash it in their face, it'll freeze them in place for like a few seconds.
Okay, so all right, so there's a reward in timing it right. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, so as you see, the game has a lot of style to it. And this is just before you get the actual gun, right? Then you gun. And it's funny because when you reload the gun, it actually makes like it's called the Hellhound. It actually makes like a growling sound when you're done reloading it.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it goes. And lets you know you can keep firing.
Oh, that's cool.
So this game, yeah, really cool. It's a short demo, but I really liked what little I saw of it. You know, I mean, outside of the third eye mechanic and like the presentation, you know, it's pretty standard survival horror stuff. You go around rooms, you're solving puzzles, looking for keys to get to the next area, avoid monsters, save resources, all that stuff. Really cool game. I did like it, so I'm looking forward to this. And then for the next game, this one was interesting because it was made on the Doom engine, but you wouldn't know it by looking at it.
Huh.
But yeah, as you can see, it is 3D, but this is made in the GZ Doom engine, which is an open source version of the Doom engine. And obviously it's been very heavily enhanced. This is a game called Morta. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. As you can see, it's got like a very like crazy look to it. Like it's very high, like very like steampunk fantasy. Also kind of like steampunky also.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to play like it's like this like cyborg bounty hunter that's supposed to hunt down some guy who like turned rogue on your organization. And it's a non-linear game where like you go through the levels in like non-linear fashion because you can go to any world you want after you finish the tutorial. And as you can see, it's a first-person shooter. You got like a dash. You have a bunch of different guns and stuff. You have a sword that you can throw at people, which is really cool. And I
love the environments.
Yeah, I know, right? Like they did such a good job, like pulling out everything they could out of the GC Doom engine. And it's just such a weird game. Like you can see visually, dude, like all this stuff just looks so fucking weird. Like it looks so alien almost, right? Like this is actually the hub area. You see like, some oddly sexy bird girls dancing here. And like this is the hub area. Huh?
You said oddly sexy. I'm like, dude, that's full frontal right there. Other than
they got
partial.
I think they got ribbons on or something, but this is the hub area here, and like it's really cool because like you see them all like the NPCs like walking around and stuff, and it's all in full 3D, and like you could talk to everyone. And everyone has like different things to say. They're all interactable, and it's just like, wow, this is a Doom engine. How the hell did you guys pull this off? Like what? And then the combat itself is actually pretty easy. Interestingly, you have infinite ammo with everything, but everything has like an alternate fire that consumes mana. And like if you really want to do damage, you got to use that stuff. But if you kill things, you get mana. Also, of course, like there's boss fights and stuff. You can dash around like in Doom Eternal. See like that when you flip the shotgun, that was like its special alternate fire. And then, of course, it has full-on 3D cutscenes. Really nice presentation.
Morta.
Yeah, I'm going to pronounce it. Morta. Some people pronounce it.
Cool.
And then for the final game, this one is also a survival horror game, but this one is all pixel graphics, and it also has full-on live-action cutscenes. So, like, that's its whole thing. Yep, and this is a game called Tenebrous Somnia, which is a survival horror with a hybrid of live-action cutscenes and pixel graphics. And it takes place like in an apartment where you're going to see like your ex-boyfriend to, check up on him after your breakup, and then you find that he got in with some cultists that promise that they'll help him forget about you and the breakup, and then it ends up transporting the apartment building into an alternate dimension made up of his memories. So you have to like navigate through that to try and find your boyfriend. But as you can see, right, like the full-on pixel graphics, really nice. And then of course you have the live action cutscenes. I was gonna say 3D. Live action cutscenes, and then outside of that, again, standard survival horror stuff, right? You're going around solving puzzles, getting lost, fighting off horrifying monsters. And this was also a really short demo, but I think it had a good stopping point, and it was just really fun. It had a really nice presentation, nice gameplay. And this is cool, also, speaking of like publishers that we really like, this is being published by New Blood Interactive, who published like Dusk and I think also Ultra Kill, which are like boomer shooters, 3D boomer shooters that people really like. So that's also really good, indie publishing company, which we need those, man. We need as many of those we can get.
Well, you know what? I think the stage has been set for a while now, and indie games are they're making it through. I mean, we'll talk about it later in one of the stories, but yeah, indie developers, the time is ripe for them, which I'm very happy about.
Well, so you want to get into some news?
Yeah. Sorry, I saw the Typhlosion image and I can't look at that.
Just speaking of Typhlosion, right? Nintendo had a Typhlosion of leaks lately, as Game Freak has reportedly been hacked, and this hack has fortunately been consistent of personal information of many employees, which is a very unfortunate case. Yes. But also some very interesting stuff and some very disturbing stuff. But first, for the interesting stuff that was leaked, well, according to Nintendo Life, one of the things that was leaked was the Nintendo's next-gen console, which has been codenamed Ounce. No one knows, what it's called. Yeah, we've been calling it Switch 2, but at least the codename for the company has been Ounce. We also have a showing of the codename for the next Pokemon game, the 10th gen Pokemon game, which is Gaia. And we also have the codename of the Pokemon Legends ZA, which is announced earlier this year, which is supposed to be the follow-up to Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Yes.
And then we also have the codenames for the 10th gen Pokemon themselves, which is K and N. And we also have some reports on it reportedly being a cross-gen game, which makes sense considering the Switch 2 will be out sometime next year. And so Nintendo's going to be very interested in getting some cross-gen promotion there. And the next Pokemon game will probably do sometime after that. And then also, there was a code name for a game that goes by Synapse, which is reportedly a Pokemon MMO.
Ooh.
That in particular, that's been a dream game of mine, man. A Pokemon MMO would be so lit because we've been dreaming about it. What's been always a dream game that everyone has said, like a Pokemon game with every region and every Pokemon available, right?
Yes,
that's what everyone wants. Everyone says their dream Pokemon game is like they just want a big open world like Skyrim-ass game where you just go around multiple regions and just catch Pokemon and fight gym leaders and Team Rocket and all this shit, right?
Yeah.
And then all we have, for that is Temtem, which hasn't been supported in a while because they went to go work on other stuff. We also have source code for DS titles that have also been leaked, unfortunately, which has led to a lot of stolen assets and even some game music showing up online. And we also have reports of a Detective Pikachu movie, a sequel to it, the 2019 movie, which is really good, actually. I really like that movie. It was reportedly going to be called The Great Detective Pikachu, and it was going to be directed by Jordan Voight Roberts, who directed King Kong Skull Island. Ugh, okay. I don't know if you saw that movie. I did not like that movie, man. But you know what, Detective Pikachu, I still be willing to give it a shot. I really like the first movie.
Yeah, the first one. I think the second movie will be phenomenal. Because, would you count that as a video game adaptation? Or
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it was one of the few that were successful. And it was good. And it wasn't like, what's the word I'm looking for? Not the disgusting, ultra realistic like CGI that just like what Sonic looked like before. It was actually tasteful. It looked good. It looks good.
Yeah, I mean they had a good compromise between like the more cartoony aesthetic of Pokemon and like realism because they no doubt looked a little more realistic. But they still had, that Pokemon-y look to it. They didn't look like fucking horrifying eldritch monsters like Sonic did. Like
the original. Yeah, exactly.
And then we also have summaries of Pokemon lore information with a mention of a so far unannounced Pokemon live-action show for Netflix.
Oh boy,
that's not all we have, right? That's not the spicy stuff.
Oh no.
So, Dave, you like Typhlosion, right? I'm guessing, was that your starter in Pokemon Gold and Silver? I mean, that was everyone's fucking starter.
No, actually, mine was Totodile.
Really? Oh, okay, based, bro. See, this is why we're best friends. Okay.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude.
Totodile, all right. But, it seems like in a post-Me Too world, Mr. Typhlosion here has caught a case. Because, apparently there's been some documents that have also been leaked with Pokemon lore. We don't really know the specifics of why this lore is here. It is non-canon technically because it is not in the games, so we don't know the nature of these. We don't know if they were intended to be in the game at all, or maybe they were just writing them down as like ideas. But our boy Typhlosion here in particular, he's apparently been killing on some girls, and in one lore entry there was a story about a Typhlosion who transformed into a human. And got busy with a girl and got her knocked up. And she gave birth to a half Pokemon, half human hybrid. But that's not all, man. Her father apparently came by and killed the Typhlosion. And she was so ostracized by her village that she decided to run into the forest and live by herself with her little hybrid child.
Why? I don't understand. Like, that's a story literally nobody asked for.
Well, I must say this, in sense of it, yes, it's weird, but it's clear that this was supposed to be based on, it's supposed to be like folklore, or like it's supposed to emulate like folklore, especially Japanese folklore, and Japanese folklore is fucking wild. I mean, all folklore is fucking wild.
Yeah.
So,
of course,
Typhlosion in particular is based on the Mujina, which is a Japanese badger, and in Japanese folklore, they are a shape-shifting yokai. So,
okay.
So, like, you can see that the folklore influence here, but now what they were intending to use it for is I don't know, and it's either way it's shocking to the system because Pokemon's always been a family friendly game.
It's literally one of the epitomes of family friendly children's fun.
Yeah, just don't go on the internet. Just don't look stuff up. That's all.
Yes,
It'll be family friendly as long as you don't look stuff up. Just don't look up the art, right? Don't look up fan stuff. Just stick to the games, stick to the anime. Don't do anything. Do not engage in the art stuff. But we also have, another one here. So this story in particular, I don't know if you read this one. This one's fucking wild. Okay, this one is.
Let me see. Well, read it. We'll see.
I'm not gonna read the whole thing. I'm gonna give you the TLDR. So for this one,
yeah, please.
So this one is themed original sin based on the current Pokemon world, and the TLDR is humans and Pokemon were almost indistinguishable from each other back in the ancient times, but humans were assholes to slack-offs in particular and would just kill and torture them for fun. But then one day, a girl pretty much got raped by a Vigoroth, and she gave birth to a slack-off, and then she decided to live in the forest with the slack-off. And then her friends came along and found the slack-off, and not knowing it was hers, killed it. And then when she found the slack-off, she took its body and went to a lake that was a slack-off and slacking colony, and then she went into the lake with it. And when her friends saw that, they decided to be kind to the slack-offs, and so that's a TLDR of it. Obviously, like as you read it, it's more mythological. But that's pretty much a TLDR of it.
Yeah, that sounds like folklore to me.
I don't know what that's based on. I even know this is legitimate. You should take these, of course, with a grain of salt. But then you have this one, which is even more fucking wild. This one had involves a man and an auxiliary. And I don't know if you remember what an auxiliary is, but it's that. And in this story, this man came across a female auxiliary and had relations with it, and then threw it back into the sea. And the next day it came back, and he once again had relations with it and threw it back into the sea.
God.
And then he came to the same place the auxiliary was and found a small boy there, which is apparently his. From the auxiliary.
Oh, from the auxiliary, yes.
Then the boy grows up, his dad dies, the boy takes up sword fighting, and he decides that he's going to fight Ursaring and pretty much be an asshole to them and cut them up and maim them and stuff. And then yada yada yada, whatever. And then one day he comes across an Ursaring, and then him and the Ursaring fight each other, but the boy's sword gets stuck, so he ends up fighting with bare hands, and they both kill each other. And the villagers witnessed it all and learned from it.
Yo, what the fuck?
So yeah, now again, I don't know what fucking Japanese crazy ass lore this comes from. With the auxiliary in particular, I'm guessing this is a reference to The Fisherman's Wife, which is a very famous painting, which is the first instance of tentacle hentai, which is why tentacle hentai is so ubiquitous in Japanese porn industry.
So what you're saying is this is a homage to the.
This is it's a role reversal, bro. He became the fisherman's husband.
Yeah, but damn, bro. So homage role reversal of the first instance of tentacle porn. That's great. That's awesome. I'm so happy that I'm cursed with this knowledge.
Yes, this auxiliary got it on with a human man. I mean, hey, that little snoot has got to be good for something, okay? I'm not saying I agree with it. But I might understand. I think I sort of understand.
I'm not kink shaming.
I'm kink asking why.
I'm kink asking why.
So yeah, as you can imagine, everyone had reactions to this.
Yeah.
Everyone has some very, very wild feelings about what's been happening here. Yeah, it's pretty much something.
Actually, missed the days where Vaporeon was the subject of discussion with these types of things.
Well, now we get auxiliary to the list.
Auxiliary.
What that mouth?
I think I even saw a meme of Lapras be included in the discussion just because of the way she looks.
Oh yeah, because everyone's like, "Why is she like a fuck me look? Why look at me that way?" What?
Dude, the internet has ruined the minds of these poor gentlemen. Oh. But no, I don't have anything else to say to this. Just disgust. It's gross.
Can we just go back to like looting Gardevoir and Lopunnies? Like I miss the good old days. Let's just find Gardevoir and Lopunnies all the attractive and just stick to that. It's just
Yes. Where's that Joker meme? We should put
there's no laws against the Pokemon, Batman.
There's no laws. I can do whatever I want with it. Oh my god.
So any thoughts besides the obvious?
No, there should be strict laws against this kind of shit, but alas, here we are. Stop looting hid stuff, please.
Oh, this is Game Freak. Don't tell Game Freak that. Don't tell us that.
It's different when it's a fan doing it. It's different for like when it's some Reddit degenerate making fanfic, but when it's coming straight from the studio, it hits different. I don't know. They should have strict laws on that though.
Against the Pokemon?
Yeah, I guess they should have strict laws against the Pokemon Batman. Oh god. Oh no.
Yeah, this also reminds me of the Vaporeon copy pop. I'm not gonna read it here, but if you're interested,
I think everybody has read this. In fact, there's been AI like YouTube poop of like famous people talking about that. I think there was one of Obama, like an AI voice of Obama reading the whole fucking copy pasta regarding Vaporeon and how and how it's what's it called in terms of most compatible Pokemon for breeding. Oh lord. It's incredible.
Okay.
No more.
No more. Oh, but we still have more from the Japan, the land of the rising sun to talk about with Bandai Namco.
Are they looting Millennia?
No, but they are apparently locking people in expulsion rooms in order to get them fired or to get them to resign. So yeah, apparently Bandai Namco has had a pretty rough year, at least financially, it seems. Even though, which is weird because like they have like all the anime games they could possibly sell, but according to a report by Bloomberg, 200 out of the 1,300 employees over at Bandai Namco have been placed in expulsion rooms, which is a practice known as Oidashi Beya. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it. Excuse me.
Damn, good shit.
Damn, that's about
10 out of 10.
So apparently, like in these expulsion rooms, they pretty much throw you in an empty room with pretty much nothing to do in order to get you bored out of your mind so you can resign. Which is funny because if you did that shit here in the States, you'd be like, oh, you pay me to do nothing. All right.
Yeah.
Fucking keep going, man. That'd be great. I'll just stick around on my phone for 8 hours. That's cool. And apparently this practice came as a result of Japan's very strict anti-dismissal laws, which prevent you from laying people off unless for like the most extreme or most emergency reasons possible. Now, also according to Bloomberg, nearly 100 people have resigned. But all of this happens as a result of apparently Blue Protocol, which is a MMO that was soft launching in Japan and some parts of Asia, and absolutely flunking out, and it didn't even reach its North American release date, which is kind of a shame because I was actually kind of looking forward to this game because it was kind of like Phantasy Star. I was into Phantasy Star for a little while, and I realized
into it is it's an understatement that you were into.
Yeah, everyone's got their vibe games. It's a vibe game, bro. You just go in, you kill hundreds of monsters every few hours. Right. Oh, but yes, okay. You have the degenerate player created nonsense.
Okay.
I said it was a vibe. I said it was a good vibe. Okay, it's just vibes. But this game apparently got canceled back in August, but also as a result, many other games have also been canceled, including a Naruto game, a One Piece game, and even a game commissioned by Nintendo, interestingly enough. Now, in reaction to this, Bandai Namco have said, while some employees may need to wait a certain period of time before they are assigned the next project, but we do move forward with assignments as new projects emerge. There is no organization like an Oidashi Beya at Bandai Namco Studios designed to pressure people to leave voluntarily. The company also denied claims, which accuses the company of the practice, and also allegations like sudden increase in waiting lists due to a large number of titles being discontinued, and spreading bad news about employees whose departure has been confirmed to other companies.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Now, of course, this is all to be expected, right? Because you can't really admit to pretty much doing that because that's blatant mistreatment
That
of
is,
your employees.
yep, highly
And
illegal. Obviously illegal.
and apparently back in 2000, 2001, Sega actually got sued for this, like really bad. And apparently their reputation tanked in Japan for a while because of it.
Damn.
Which is interesting because I actually didn't know about it. Like even the Wikipedia doesn't have much information on that, but apparently like, it was a big scandal in at least in the Japan industry. It just didn't really, expand
maybe,
to the West. Oh, it's 2000.
yeah.
Like the internet wasn't as big as it is now, right?
That's
We
true.
didn't have
What,
Twitter, we didn't have Facebook, any of that stuff.
did we have Wikipedia on that time or
I mean,
no?
yeah, but like, who's gonna look that up?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Meanwhile,
And
you go on Twitter and you're forced to look it up, like because everyone's gonna be saying it. It's gonna be on your fucking feed. It's
well,
the algorithm.
what about now? Is it updated on the wiki now or no?
I had that looked, so I don't know.
Okay, I'll look it up real quick. What would it be under the Sega wiki?
I guess so, because I mean, according to the article, it says Wikipedia didn't really mention much of it. There was, but PC Gamer, which is the article we've gotten this from, did manage to confirm it by finding an old Eurogamer article and also by finding some scans from a old magazine and translating it through AI learning. And yeah, went to court, and Sega also issued an apology. In other words, if Bandai makes its practice, then it's unlikely to admit it until it absolutely has to. So yeah. So, what are your thoughts, man?
It's fucked up. Don't want to make it look like layoffs. Well, I mean that they can't because of the strict law. I mean, I'm not too familiar about Japanese law regarding layoffs, but the fact that they're going to this length to make the employees quit. Well, yeah, dude, it's kind of messed up, especially when you know that Japanese workers, they kind of already overwork themselves to death in a lot of cases, and it's a really big problem. It's just weird that they would continue to do this kind of abuse towards them. Yeah, I feel bad because I mean, at the risk of sounding like a stereotype, the Japanese people are a very, very hardworking group. So much so that like I said, they end up killing themselves to do the work. I'm not sure what can be done, but would they investigate this kind of thing, and especially if they have a lot of complaints coming out regarding?
I don't know how Japanese infrastructure and legal proceedings and ministry, it's completely different from here. So I cannot even begin to imagine what action people can take, legal or otherwise.
No, of course, understandable.
I mean, I think it's great that Japan has strong anti-layoff laws, but at the same time, it might be a little too strong because if you have to resort to this as a solution, then I don't know. Maybe some laws need to be rewritten a little bit.
Yeah.
This is
no, it is no classic psychological abuse, and honestly, man, this is a problem that big companies or corporations have. Well, I mean, not a problem that they have; it's a problem that they cause. You have laws that are designed to protect the worker, and then they hire their think tank to be like, okay, what can we do to circumvent this law? Or in the case of me in my hospital, the union does something to protect us nurses, and then the hospital goes, okay, and then they enact a new policy that completely nullifies the good the union did while also taking it 2 steps back. And it kind of sucks. There should be a way. Well, I mean, it's kind of like an escalation thing. The government puts in laws to protect the consumer. Company comes back with a workaround, and then you gotta go through the whole process again. Like, hey, this law is not doing what it's intended to do. In fact, it's actually making things worse. We got to go and revise it and all this crap. I'm not sure how they would do it. I don't know if the Japanese have a system where they can, kind of like in the EU, where they sign petitions to put a proposal up to their governing body. Mm-hmm. Actually, it may be closer to ours, to our system in the U.S., because after World War II, Japan's constitution was essentially built on the American system, more or less. Mm-hmm. So it may be more similar to the way we do things than Europe. But still, it's a shame. I kind of wish it didn't happen, but we know it happens.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate all around.
Yeah, especially since Bandai Namco just had a really dude, they've been doing great. Isn't that the publisher that put out Elden Ring?
Yeah, like it's weird that they seem to need to find the need to lay people off, or
Yeah,
to lock them in rooms, pretty much.
yeah.
Because
Like,
Elden Ring like fucking killed it. And Shadow of the Erd Tree fucking killed it. They have pretty much a monopoly on anime games, right? They pretty much like
yes,
every big anime game, or every big anime property that you can make a game out of is those licenses are owned by Bandai Namco. So it's
yeah.
weird
So
that they
like,
also find a need to, cancel Naruto games and One Piece games because those are going to sell like fucking hotcakes, and a Nintendo game too, which is weird.
yeah. So I don't know. Like they're doing well financially. So why is layoff even a word being considered for them? You know? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you on that.
Yeah, who knows? Because I haven't found anything on like what's been happening for
Yeah,
their year.
yeah. Well, knowing our luck, they'll yeah, something will come out tomorrow after we're done recording.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, yeah, but sad news. I kind of hope that this resolves because Bandai Namco has I mean it's really FromSoft that has gotten a lot of the recognition, but
Oh, and Tekken.
Bandai
I've
Nam.
got Tekken too. They published Tekken,
Oh, oh, what
and
the?
Tekken
Yeah,
fucking sold
dude.
gangbusters.
Yes, yes. Yeah, then I don't know what's going on. $10 mismanagement is the problem.
Yeah, probably that's usually the culprit. Yeah. Well, speaking of management, you got some stuff
Oh,
about management of some TV properties,
yeah,
TV shows.
TV shows. Um, well, as far as speaking of mismanagement, it turns out the God of War TV show is doing a complete reset of its production as the showrunner and a bunch of executive producers have left the show. A report from Deadline shows that the original showrunner and executive producer Ralph Judkins, as well as Hawk Otsby and Mark Fergus, have left the God of War TV show. A lot of the scripts were written for the first season, all of which they actually liked. Both because it's a joint venture between Sony and Amazon MGM Studios, but reportedly, despite liking what they saw in those scripts, they want to go in a different direction. So it seems like they're going their separate ways on good terms, but still, that's they essentially have to restart the project and hire a whole new writing team to make a whole new script, and I guess a whole new theme as well, because we don't really know the subject of what those original scripts had. So it's an association with PlayStation Productions, and it's as well as Sony Pictures TV and Amazon. It was announced all the way back in December of 2022, and they have actually done work on the show since March 2022. And it's actually going to start straight off in the Norse mythology era. So it's going to start at the 2018 God of War, and not in the previous iterations from the PS2 and PS3 era.
Okay, so
But
that's been confirmed.
yes, yeah,
Oh, okay, because we were speculating that like, what are they gonna do Greece? Are they gonna do Norse
yeah. Well, it
mythology
says
one?
yeah. So at least according to the article, the show was slated to be an adaptation of the PS4 2018 God of War. But as you can imagine, they can't write off those old Greek games because those games they're such a core part of, well, I mean, everything, gaming history, as well as Kratos' story. As a person. There is a lot of meat that they would be very, very stupid to just completely write off. So I imagine they'll do like some flashback sequences. Honestly, I would dedicate like a few good episodes just on his Greek warpath because I think that would be excellent fan service. But that's just me being fanboyish.
That would be pretty cool though.
Dude, that'd be freaking
I
dope.
definitely would not mind that, and I'm
Yeah,
sure they
it's
would
funny.
do it.
Yeah, they would do it. I actually saw a trailer, an old trailer for God of War Ascension, the live action one.
Hmm.
It was a Super Bowl commercial, and dude, that trailer, I remember how hard it hit, and it still goes hard. It still goes really, 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 really hard. But so yeah, so I mean, it doesn't say that there really isn't any problems. They're just kind of doing a reset just to try and get that script that will push the show in the direction that all parties involved want. And by parties, I mean like the big studios. and they have a good track record. After all, the Last of Us TV show did really, really well, so they want to keep that momentum going with God of War. Now, we were researching the story, and we actually got another update on it that they ended up enlisting the help of Ronald D. Moore to be the show's to be the main showrunner as well as writer and executive producer. Now, yeah, let me see. Actually, I don't know much about this man, but we do know that he has actually done a lot of work on Star Trek, and we mean all of it, like Next Generation and Voyager and Deep Space Nine. But he was well known for his reboot of Battlestar Galactica, which ran on the Sci-Fi Channel back in like 2009 and all like what 2004, 2009, like in the mid 2000s. And everyone knows Battlestar Galactica is peak sci-fi.
Yeah, it was a really good show. People didn't like the ending, but the show itself was really highly praised. Like, people adored the show.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's in good hands.
Yeah, no, it seems like it's in good hands. And also something else that I forgot to mention is that Corey Balrog remains on board also as an executive producer. I forgot where it was, but I actually saw an interview with him that he was very, very adamant about maintaining creative control over the project, which makes sense. I mean, the God of War of the PS4 era is his baby. That is his vision that he worked really, really hard to bring to life, and he took real good care with it. I haven't played Ragnarok, but I played the original God of War 2018, not the original God of War, and it is so good. It is such a good, tightly compacted story, and I 100% understand why doesn't want anyone else to, well, fuck with it. So it's really good that he's still at the helm. It seems all the higher ups, everyone running the show so far, like you said, it's in good hands.
Yeah, that's good to hear, man. Because like you said, because this is Corey Barlog's baby. I mean, he's been working with God of War since I think the second one. I think he also directed the second one back in the PS2 days as well.
Oh, damn! See, I didn't know that.
So he's been working on God of War for a long fucking time. He knows his stuff. He understands, what makes these games good, what makes Kratos such a compelling character, and to see that happen on like live action on the silver screen would be really cool to see.
Yeah, honestly, dude, if they can, I wouldn't mind if they just casted Christopher Judge as the live action Kratos and just put him.
They probably should. You should just get all those
yes.
on there. Probably have to recast Atreus because Atreus' actor is he's 18 now, so he's supposed to be 12 at the start.
Yeah, no, for sure. Maybe they can cast him though for the Ragnarok section. That. I mean, if the show goes on for that long, then they can just go ahead and do that. But yeah, honestly, they should just cast the voice actors. I mean, they did mocap and facial scans for the characters anyway.
Yeah, they all have experience in acting, so.
Oh, absolutely,
and like live action acting too. So they did live action acting before.
Absolutely,
they were casted for God of War.
Yes, indeed. And also, they know these characters better than anyone. They've been embodying them for what? Since 2018? Actually, before then, because the game's been... how long did the game take to make? Like
4 or 5 years.
So imagine 4 or 5 years, and then all the way up until now, working on Ragnarok. Like, these people know these characters like the back of their hands. Especially, Christopher Judge. He, that's his role just as much as oh my god, I forgot his name. The original voice actor for Kratos from the original.
TJ Carson, I think.
That's it, TJ Carson.
I think that's his name. Make sure, because I know he's a guy. TC Carson. I'm sorry, TC Carson.
TC Carson, yeah.
TC Carson. Yeah, he was on Living Single. Actually, I'm not gonna know that. If you've ever seen that show.
Why is that sound familiar?
Queen Latifah sitcom.
Oh no, I did not know that. Let me see.
Okay.
I don't know what that is.
Never seen it. My sister watches all the time. She loved the show. So I was like, wait, this guy? Well, that's him.
Damn.
That's him now, but this was him in the show.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, this motherfucker's Kratos? What?
Dude, that's hilarious.
You make yourself sound like that, okay? Because he's not like a really rough voice. Like, he just sounds like like a normal dude.
Yeah.
But he's like, and then freaking God of War. Like, oh, okay, wow.
Yeah, damn it. And now he's like, he looks like he talks like suave in this show. So imagine going.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like a smart ass in the show.
Oh, yeah.
So he talks shit and. Talk smooth.
Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, it looks like even the people that left with the original scripts, they had nothing but good things to say about the scripts. They just wanted a different direction for the show. And honestly, if anything, they can always call them back and be like, "Hey, listen, we talked about it. We didn't really find what we were looking for, so we're just gonna go with this one because it was still a good script." So honestly, nothing negative, which is nice because, well, we'll talk about it later. Some production hell, it really is hell. So it's nice that this show is getting along just fine so far.
Want to talk about next story while I pull it up?
Sweet. I mean, do you want to go into actual production hell real quick?
Next story while I pull it up?
Sweet. I mean, do you want to go into actual production hell real quick on just a quick little snippet
Yeah.
regarding the first superhero movie technically?
Well, there is one thing before that. I think we gotta talk about this disgrace against the Emperor here.
Oh, absolutely. Well, there you go. Well, shit. That's all you had to say. So, turns out, I think Chaos Marines have invaded the Racer Group. They're the ones that make this game, right?
Well, it's being made by Saber Interactive. I don't know.
Saber, not Embracer.
I don't know
Sorry.
if they're owned by Embracer or not.
No. I think they split. But anyway, Warhammer.
Yeah. They're fucking independent. Yeah.
Yeah. They're independent. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
Well, that's why Embracer came up like originally, and I was like, what the hell? But anyway, in any case, Warhammer, Space Marine 2, Chaos Marines have invaded the development team by giving you what players call "quote unquote" bullshit nerfs. So, Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 is a beloved power fantasy where you fight for the one true god, which is your emperor, the living god, the word of which is the only thing that matters. Praise the emperor.
Praise the Emperor.
And kill all heretics. So, so they recently launched an update 4.0, which kicked off with a new PvE map, a new Tyranid enemy, as well as a lethal difficulty, while also making the dreaded term game balance, which people were not very happy for. But just a quick update on what they did. So they did fencing weapons. Perfect parry window will now have the same duration as balanced weapons, but will start from the first frame of the parry animation. So they did this in order to make parries a little bit harder. Parries were pretty easy. I know when we played, every time we saw someone about to jump, we would literally just press the button 5 seconds ahead of time, and the parry would be fine, especially with the smaller Tyranid enemies. Yeah, they also made upgrades to the chainsword, the power fist, and the combat knife. So the charged attack perks get significant damage increases. They did nerf the basic Auspex scan, increasing the bonus damage on bosses by 30%. And the melted charge, well, they reduced it. Damage to bosses reduced by a whopping 70%. So a lot of what?
How much damage was it doing before?
I don't know.
One-shotting them? Was that what was happening? What the hell?
Well, apparently they talk about it later in the story, but apparently even the hardest difficulty had a win percentage of 95%. I don't know if it was here or if it's in another article, but apparently there was a really high win percentage for the hardest difficulty. So they nerfed it to just, to add some challenge. But as the quote in the title says, have you learned nothing from Helldivers 2? This isn't a PvP game. This is PvE. It's all about the power fantasy. It is about the having fun mechanic. So yeah, the melta charge does awesome damage and nerfs bosses. Yeah, who gives a shit? That's the whole point. The game is supposed to make you feel like a badass. So they equate this as another Helldivers problem, and they ended up review bombing the game in protest of the changes. But good news though, they did issue a response, and actually here it is. It's in the updates on the Steam page itself. So they're going to address the most pressing balancing changes that they have made with an update that I believe was last Thursday that they made it? Because when was it dated?
I don't see it here. I think it was Thursday.
Yeah, it was last Thursday. So they noticed the criticisms, and they are going to I think they already did update the balancing changes, but they were
It was
also
this
talking
Wednesday.
about
Sorry to
it was
interrupt.
this Wednesday.
It was this Wednesday. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, because these stories,
4.1.
yeah, 4.1. Okay, so they have been made, and they talk about how with patch 4.0 that their aim was to tweak enemy spawns to increase the overall number of enemies rather than buffing their health. However, what they didn't realize was this would have an effect on the easier difficulties as well, which they have seen drop from 95 to 93%, which they say is actually a pretty significant drop. And the fact that people are now having more intense and stressful experiences on the lower difficulties, they're going to, well, fix it, which they've already done, which they first did by rolling back the changes, and then they ended up issuing a balancing patch as of Wednesday, you said, correct? Yeah. So hopefully they can keep this energy going forward. We all know one of the biggest problems with Helldivers 2 was just nerfing weapons because people are using this weapon too much. Like, we want them to experience other weapons. It's like, well, then just make the other weapons stronger as well. Don't nerf one to force another. Like, it makes no sense. It also creates toxicity in the community because you'll see people picking a weapon or picking a class that is not meta, and they'll like boot them for no reason, and then you'll have a harder time, grabbing finding friends to play with. So this is a huge step forward for them, reverting the changes, and I would like to see them keep it up because we still have the sour taste that Helldivers left in our mouths, amongst other things, but especially the balancing problems.
Which has been sort of rectified. Like they did do a patch recently, like
Yes.
earlier this month, where they just giga buffed the shit out of fucking everything, and they completely like reworked armor system and it reworked like respawns and stuff like that. Well, another thing here, interesting thing to mention is that apparently there was a modifier in the lethal difficulty for Warhammer, which is the newly released difficulty setting for operations, the PvE part of the game, PvE co-op part of the game. And there's apparently just a modifier called Tight Formation, which made it so that you can only gain back armor from an execution if your teammates are nearby. And this led to like really messed up situations where you pretty much couldn't play stuff like the assault or the I forgot the sword and shield guy, bulwark. I fucking play it. I forgot.
That's your class.
That's my class. I know. I can't forget.
Yeah.
I'm old, man. Okay. The practice test.
Don't even, man.
Bring my mind.
Oh no, dude! If you're aging this fast, oh my god, don't do that to me, bro. Especially since you're gonna pass me in age soon. Oh, don't do that to me.
But the bulwark and the assault class are like melee classes, right? So like if your buddies are hanging out way in the back and like you're like solo by yourself up in the front, you're not getting any armor and you're getting fucked up by all these these little fucking assholes just biting you.
These little shits.
Right, these damn Tyranids and filthy Xenos nipping at your heels, just killing you slowly. You just can't get armor back. So they did remove that, which is good because that does sound very annoying. They also like you said, they pretty much buffed like every single bolt weapon in the game. So like all these things are like buffed.
Yeah,
which is good because some of them felt a little like most of the time. I mean, obviously I'm playing a bulwark, so like I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Like, did you ever use any of these? I think there's you played the sniper, right? So like the bolt sniper.
Yeah, I've used the bolt sniper and the shit fucks. So it's nice to see that it's a damage increase. I've used all the heavies. I haven't used the Oculus bolt. Let's see what else. I use usually chainsword or the knife because the last time we played, I wanted to try the sniper class, and the sniper class is cool. Also, the armor for the sniper is that's the aesthetic I strive for. So, so I've been playing that class a lot. Well, I mean, not a lot. It's been actually weeks since we touched the game, but
yeah, I was looking at it right now. I haven't touched it since October 6th.
Well, I think that's the last. Well, I mean, I only played with you. Like, I think we beat the game with
like 3 weeks ago then.
Yeah, so we played the game with Gene, and then we did some operations. Like we beat my campaign. Like I beat it, and then we did some operations, and then that was it.
Yeah.
That was
Okay.
that was the last time we
I've been
played.
playing Metaphor since. So
Yeah, and I've been playing Valheim and Phasmophobia, so we've kind of gone on these little gaming tangents. And if you successfully convince me, I'll have one more game that I have to play.
wait, what's that?
The game that's bringing back 6v6.
Oh yes. Okay. So you did see it. I was going to ask you after
Yeah,
the show. Okay.
yeah, I did. We could talk about it at the end or off camera.
Yeah,
It
we're going
don't
off
matter.
camera because
But
I really didn't know if you saw it or not, so I really want to figure it out.
yeah,
But
yeah,
let's continue the stories.
yeah, absolutely. Sorry, but anyway, so in short, they fucked up, but they are fixing and making the balance changes that actually matter. And we have to remind these developers, like, listen, this is PvE. Let us do power fantasies. Let us kill for the emperor. Damn it! The fuck. Any other thoughts on this, or
I'm just glad they're
not
doing this
really?
really quickly because like the
Yeah,
Helldivers team, like they were dragging their heels probably because they were so underprepared for how successful that game was. Like it was literally
I agree.
failure by success.
Yes, failure by success. And then when stuff started to like happen, they didn't know how to respond. So they were like, oh god, like, what do we do?
Yeah.
But Warhammer, the hype has been there since the first trailer. So they knew exactly the kind of game they were going to have. So they're well prepared to handle setbacks. And they've shown with this patch debacle that they're able to handle that with grace and with transparent communication with the community, which is, thank you. We don't get much of that anymore.
Yeah, I also like what the game director has to say. Dmitry Grigorenko.
Yes.
I like here like this particular line where he says he's grateful, for all the feedback and stuff. And the key takeaway for that is something that he forgot, and it's that once a game's out, it's no longer a dev's game; it's yours first and foremost.
Exactly.
And
I like that.
it's so nice to like hear a devs actually say that.
Yep.
Because so many times like they try and treat it like it's just their game, and I understand that you have a vision for the game, right? But sometimes your vision of a game doesn't always line up with how people receive it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And no matter what you do, like it's just not gonna line up perfectly. The best you could do is just compromise between what you wanted and what we want.
Exactly. And honestly, once it's in the hands of the players, you really have no idea how it's going to take off. Like an example I like to use is Fortnite. It was originally a like a tower defense type or base building where you defend against zombies.
No one remembers that.
And then no one remembers that, but they were like, this battle royale seems to be pretty popping. Let's see what we can do with it. And now look at them. That's the rest is history.
Yeah, the rest is history. Yeah, exactly. It speaks for itself.
Yeah, it really does speak for itself. So it's good. Like a lot of the times, these developers, they realize that, like, they crafted a game, they see how the game resonates with players and how players respond with it, and then they'll work on making sure that they keep up that feeling, even if it means compromising on your vision, like you said. But this is a Warhammer game first and foremost, so it's easy because we already know what kind of game this is. Everyone already knows what the expectation is, so everyone's vision, the developer and player, is more or less, it's more in line with each other than if it was another property. What I do also like is this line that he had said that he is going to be establishing public test servers to, I think it's one in the last paragraph. They're going to be establishing public test servers so that they can test out these updates before they roll them out, which, yes, big win. I'm a huge fan of public test servers. I was a huge fan of experimental in Overwatch because you really don't know how something is going to affect the community until the community gets their hands on it. So make a space to see how we interact with the changes. And yeah.
No, definitely. Yeah. No, I wholeheartedly agree. I'm also a fan of servers as well. Say test servers.
Yeah.
Just let people test it out. Yeah, because I was on experimental all the time. I was always testing that shit out.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool getting like a sneak peek of how the changes were going to play out.
No, of course. Even though sometimes, at least in Overwatch's case, some changes were not good, and they still made them anyway.
I mean, that was most of the time. That's why it was kind of useless. It was like, why even have this at this point? You're just gonna fucking go through with it anyways.
Yeah,
at least in Overwatch 1's case. In Overwatch 2, like they're willing to walk back on stuff. I mean, it'll take some time. We'll have to wait a long ass time, but they at least walk back on it eventually if we, push back enough.
Yeah. Oh boy. But oh well. Yeah. Alrighty. Any other thoughts on the Emperor's Chosen?
Nope. I think we have spoken the good word on the Emperor, and I think all that's needs to be said has been said.
All right. Very, very excellent.
All right. Let's move on.
Let's move on to what probably will never be said ever or see the light
That's
of day.
constantly moving on.
And all it seems to do is move on further and further down the release schedule. So, a report from Deadline shows that it is now confirmed that the MCU reboot version of Blade has been removed from the 2025 release schedule and replaced with Predator Badlands. So, in what comes to no surprise, Marvel Studios' Blade won't be coming out on November 7th, 2025. The reboot was first announced at San Diego Comic-Con in 2019. And, well, production and development with, since then has been, pretty damn awful. Not gonna lie. So, the project so far has had 2 directors exit. We had what's it called? It was supposed to be... Mia Goth was supposed to play the supervillain Lilith, and it's not happening. It has been pushed back, and no one knows. Yeah,
well, she's got a perfect look for a vampire movie, bro. She's got like this weird really but pretty look to her. Like she was kind of weird but kind of pretty at the same time. Like,
now, does she shave her eyebrows, or are they just like blonde eyebrows?
I think I don't know. I think they might be just like that.
Okay,
she's a really good actress too, by the way. If you see the Pearl and Maxine, like she's really good in those movies. Everything she's in, she's really good.
I'll have to check that out. But it's pretty bad. Honestly, this movie's gone through a lot. At one point, it was supposed to actually be a movie centered around a bunch of females learning the ways with Blade set as a 4th character, like a side character, and people were really upset that he was being sidelined in his own movie. But I think that's been scrapped.
Yeah, thankfully.
Thankfully. I mean, come on, dude. Like, Blade.
Yeah, exactly. Blade, come on.
Blade. Put some respect on the name. Especially considering the movie's history and how, well, I mean, if you know your movie trivia, this was the movie that saved Marvel. The original Blade, Marvel, I think, in the was it the 90s or the 2000s, they were selling properties left and right trying to stay afloat.
Yeah,
I mean they sold Fantastic Four to Fox, right?
Yeah, it was to Fox,
as well as the X-Men, mm-hmm. And then of course famous Sony acquiring the rights to Spider-Man, which honestly has been probably one of the best deals in like the history of ever.
Yeah, for Sony.
For Sony. Yeah, dude. It's so good, in fact, that Sony is not even like giving it back for the MCU. They're like, no. We're renting Spider-Man to you, but it's still our property. But
joint custody of Peter.
Dude, joint custody of Tom Holland, poor bastard. But but Blade really was, it was the first R-rated superhero movie. It also featured, African American superhero, and it was a lot of fun, and it was freaking dope. Actually, the original Blade was one of those movies that I grew up watching over and over and over again, especially with my dad. Like it was Blade, the Matrix movies, that 2000s era action. It was just amazing, so good. And of course, you had Blade 2 and then Blade Trinity, which we don't talk about that. but the movie grossed, like the franchise itself grossed a lot of money. So it makes sense that they would want to bring it back for the MCU. Especially they nailed the casting with Mahershala. Am I pronouncing this right? Mahershala Ali. Oh yeah, Mahershala Ali. Dude, I mean, when he was announced as Blade, I was like, yes, I approve.
Oh, he's a great actor.
No, he's a great actor. I actually was watching clips of Green Book, and that's a fan. Yeah, I haven't seen the movie, but the clips I've seen is fantastic. And not only that, I'm a huge fan of Viggo Mortensen.
He's good at that
So
movie.
yeah, dude, again, the clips I've seen with the two of them interacting, like, yeah, I can see why that. I think that movie like won some Oscars, no?
It won the big one.
It won the big
Yeah, it
one.
won
Yeah,
Best
and
Picture.
I think Mahershala Ali won an Oscar for Best Actor for
I
that
think
movie,
so.
did he?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so. So two big Oscars. So yeah, so they nailed the casting with that. It's just God, this movie has been so mismanaged with so much bullshit that now it's not even going to get a release date. It's like it's being taken off the release schedule. Mahershala Ali, I think, just turned 40. So
No, he's like 46, dude. He's in his
he's at
mid
40. Oh,
40s.
damn. So he's holy
He's
shit. So he's close to the dude.
He's in his mid 40s, and Wesley Snipes
he
was in
doesn't-
his 30s when he did the movie.
Yeah, dude, but damn, he doesn't look it.
Hey,
And that
black don't
man
crack.
ages.
Black
I'll
don't
let you
crack.
say that. Yeah.
Black don't crack.
No, it don't. No, man, but he's doing good. But still, man, he's getting up there in age. So time really is not on their side because Blade is a superhero movie. Like he's got to do action scenes. He's got to do karate chops and samurai sword cutting and shit. So, and also I imagine he's getting impatient, trying to get this movie started. So he's probably going to threaten to leave the film if he hasn't already. So it's not looking good, man. This might not end well, or at the very least, they might not just ever make it at all.
He's gonna be in a wheelchair by the time this movie comes out.
If it ever does,
He's gonna be in a fucking wheelchair.
it's okay. They'll just do a deep fake of him. So.
Oh yeah, no, it's so crazy what's happening with this movie. This thing was announced like 2019, I think.
Yeah.
Or 2018, and it was supposed to come out in fall of 2022.
Yes, and it's been delayed. Yeah, and I know the big thing is they blame the COVID-19 pandemic and also the industry strikes as well, the writer strikes, which by the way that does affect production a lot. I remember the writer strike. Man, I forgot if it was in 2008, but Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen came out during the writer strike, and
That movie sucked so much ass.
dude, bro,
You can
I was
feel
so
it.
disappointed. I was disappointed because that first movie was amazing, and then the drop in quality from the first to the second movie was so apparent. But I was a kid at the time, so I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was like, "This doesn't feel right. Something's wrong with this
Why
movie,"
are there
and I
robo
don't.
balls?
Yeah,
Who thought this was fun? I am 14 years old. This is a joke for me, and I am not fucking laughing.
Michael Bay. Michael Bay is the answer to that question.
And Michael Bay
But-
straight up admitted, like, yeah, we had no writers. Like, we just wrote it.
Oh,
as we
yeah.
went.
Yes,
We had some
exactly.
action scenes
And it-
planned out, but we had no script, so we just kind of just wrote it on the spot, pretty much.
Yep,
And
that's exactly.
And it feels like it's like, wow, you really did just write this on a napkin before filming.
Yep. It's like, yeah, this sounds about right. All right, roll film. Shia, say these lines. So the writer's strike definitely can affect the movie. It affected that one, and honestly, it probably is what derailed that whole franchise. Because like I said, the first one was great, but then everything else after was like, what? And then
I mean, they still sold a lot of money. Well, until like the fourth movie, and that's when people started catching on. Like, okay, this is kind of dumb.
yeah. No, when they brought
It was
in
being
Mark
hard carried
Wahlberg.
by China. That's what it was.
was.
China was hard carrying those movies.
Well, dude, they love their kaiju. Well, I mean, they're not kaijus, but they're big Gundam, robots fighting each other. Except, it's American Gundam, which is Transformers, but still. But yeah, dude, when they made the fourth movie and they brought Mark Wahlberg in, dude, I'll never forget the trailer. Like, I don't know, like he was shocking the car and he goes, "Oh, I just found a transformer," with his fucking Boston accent. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm not watching this shit. This is awful. Nah, not gonna happen. Yeah, dude. And then they brought in like freaking Transformer T-Rex and like with Optimus Prime riding it with like a sword and shit. I'm like, what? it made no sense to me.
Well, I mean, that's a reference to because they did have a line of like animal
Transformers.
animal-based Transformers. Yeah, and in the 90s there was
Oh,
in the 90s there was a CG cartoon called Beast Wars, and they transformed into
okay.
animals because in Beast Wars they crash land on Earth during prehistoric times. So
Oh, okay, that
they
makes
turn to
sense.
dinosaurs. So that's what that's based on. So I give a pass on
Okay,
that. Plus, it's just fucking
all right,
cool. Like I don't find that.
yeah,
It's just-
yeah, yeah. Well, you know what? Yeah, still, I guess because the other two movies prior were like not great. The fact that they were just throwing in random crap, and also I didn't know the lore. Now I do. That's why I. Okay, so all right, I'll give it a pass on the dino stuff then. I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
now, granted, the movie's still
But
shit, but those movies are shit. But
but the Transformer T Rex is a good idea. It needed to be in another
it
movie.
deserved a better movie.
It deserved a better movie. But actually, I think Mia Goth actually met with Deadline's Natalie Sitek. Sorry about that tangent. At the world premiere of her movie Maxine, which I saw trailers for and it looked interesting. And she talked about how Marvel, really cares about the Blade movie, and they want to make a really, really good movie, and that's the sense that she got from them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
She's
no one wants to make a bad movie.
No, I know that, but
I know that, but like, I know you know that. But when someone says, "Oh, they just want to make a really good movie," okay, well, no one wants to make a bad movie.
That's an empty platitude to me. That's an empty platitude to me, especially with the crap that they spend money on. Do infamously fucking the She-Hulk series. I forgot what it was, but there was one episode that, dude, it was literally the same budget for a full-length feature film, and it was for one episode. And yeah, I forgot what the number was, but Jesus. And again, this reeks of mismanagement. They don't know what kind of movie they want to make, or the ideas that they're putting forth are just not, they just don't make any sense. Like the idea of, Blade being relegated to a fourth character in his own movie, which I'm really happy that was not a thing. And yeah, so we'll see where this goes. But for now, Wesley Snipes was correct. There's only one Blade.
There's only ever gonna be one Blade.
And for the foreseeable future, there's only ever gonna be one Blade. Actually, side note, Ryan Reynolds is pushing for a Logan-style movie for Wesley Snipes' Blade character.
Yep, this is
Yeah.
This is gonna be a thumbnail right here.
Yeah, that is gonna be the thumbnail.
This has to be our thumbnail right here. I'm gonna do it. I actually never made a thumbnail. I just let YouTube make it.
Yeah,
it's usually us laughing because I guess that's what they figured gets the most engagement.
Absolutely. But yeah, so for now, we'll see what happens. But the future does not look bright for this MCU version of Blade.
All right.
Yeah.
And,
speaking of futures that don't look so hot.
Yeah.
All right. So Asmongold, I'm not gonna say he is like one of the big dogs on Twitch. He's a famous Twitch streamer. He is a personification of the World of Warcraft player. His Twitch channel was banned following a racist rant about Palestinians. So he was on I don't know if it was a debate or a conversation with Hassan Piker, who is another famous Twitch streamer, but he does more political commentary. Also, he's known for his very left-leaning views. And so they were speaking about, the issue between Israel and Palestine, which of course is a hot button topic. It's a very touchy subject. And apparently he made some comments. I don't know what the context was or what the question was asked, but the quote we have here was, Asmongold, if you want to consider, I guess they were talking about genocide, and when it was related to Palestinians, he said, and I quote, if you want to consider a genocide as a systematic killing of a group of people, they have genocide built into Sharia law right now. So no, I'm not going to cry a effing river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give an F. I don't know why I'm censoring it.
I don't know why either. I didn't want to interrupt, but
well, it's just because what he said was pretty bad. So I'm just like, damn, like I feel dirty saying the F word, like when doing this quote, but whatever. Okay. Anyway, you know what? I'll renegade it. I don't give a fuck. They're terrible people. It's not even a question. It's crazy that people don't see it that way. And I think here, they, regarding Palestinians, be doing the same thing. And how much did they kill? As many as they can. They're not able to kill as many people as Israel because they don't have as many bombs and as many weapons, but if they did, they'd be doing the same thing. These people are not your allies. They are not the same as us. They come from an inferior culture that is horrible. It kills people for their identity and is directly antithetical to everything Western values stand for, and it is inferior culture in all ways. It is that simple. Damn, that was a pretty charged rant. So he later went on to Twitter to apologize because, of course, his Twitch channel I think is still banned, and he actually is taking a hiatus because he actually has 2 channels. He has his main channel, the Asmongold channel, but he actually hasn't been streaming on that channel for a long time. He's actually been streaming on his Zach Rar channel, which I guess is like his personal. I remember because I watch a lot of Asmongold. So he has a channel that he said was his personal channel because according to him, he makes enough money that he doesn't need to stream on his big channel anymore. So this Zach Rar channel is not it's not monetized. I think I could be misconstruing that or misremembering it, but I believe that was the case and why he's not streaming on his Asmongold channel as to his Zach Rar channel. But as you can see, he said, looking back on it, I was way too much of an asshole about the Palestine thing. My bad. Of course, no one deserves to have their life destroyed, even if they do things or have views that I find regressive. You guys deserve more than me saying stupid shit like that. I'll do better. Standard apology, standard Twitter apology. You know, got caught saying some shit. So yeah. No. Yeah. Well, the comment section, of course, is about as well. It's exactly what you'd expect from Twitter X comment section, but. Well, considering that it's a political issue and we don't do politics, I'm not going to say anything on it.
Yeah, I don't want to go. I don't want to go too deep into it, but
yeah,
I will say what he did say is pretty fucked up, no matter what. Like,
yeah, it is pretty fucked up. And
politics aside,
well, he's right.
Things that he said is fucked.
Yeah.
Oh, he was right. What? Yeah. What were you gonna say?
No, like what he said. You know. Like what he's like in his apology, like no one should lose their lives for their views.
Okay.
And that's correct.
Okay, it's good you probably have that clarification because I was going to say no. He said nothing wrong.
No. Whoa, hang on. I said I'm not going to get into the politics. I'm just saying what he said about no one should die for opposing views. I think that's correct. Please let me clarify that. Please.
#Asmongold did nothing wrong.
Oh my god, free my boy Asman. He did nothing. Free Asman. Yeah, honestly, dude, again, I'm not going to say anything, but the whole Israel versus Palestine thing is there is no right answer. It's like such a muddled mess that I can't believe people have the balls to be talking about something like that. It's just there's so much mud in that water that it's crazy. It's absolutely insane. And for Twitch streamers who, you know, they sit at a computer and stream, especially, you know, people that play video games all day, like, come on, dude. Just keep playing games. You don't need to comment on the state of Israel, the state of Palestine. Talk about the new balance changes and how Blizzard sucks ass. That's literally all you have to do. It's easy. It's easy content. But yeah, it sucks because Asmongold usually has a pretty level head and usually thinks out his opinions and articulates them very well. So a mishap like this is unfortunate.
A misstep's putting it lightly, man.
I am being nice. Okay, fine. A fuck up like this is uber unfortunate. I think actually he hasn't streamed since then, obviously because he's banned, but he is taking a hiatus. I think he also stepped down from his organization OTK as well, and I think he's just taking time to reflect. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yep. He did indeed step down.
Yes, he did. There you go. There it's at. Yeah. The rumor is that he's actually going to clean his room and do like a Nikocado avocado video where.
Oh well, no, the Nikocado avocado strat would have been like he just shows up one day on stream, clean shaven, right? Nice haircut.
Clean shaven.
His room is fucking pristine. And he's like, yeah, guys, so I've been living like this for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
And I've actually pre-recorded everything. Even the Palestine thing, right? It was all pre-planned, guys.
Pre-planned.
Yeah, Hamas is going to attack Israel.
My uncle works for Mossad, so I have all the info. But it's crazy. I don't know. Yeah, I hope he comes back from this because, like I said, I do like him as a streamer. So stop talking about politics. It kills everything. It's literally a cancer. Doesn't matter what it is.
And apparently, actually, according to this story, I'm actually kind of glad I looked this up because I think you mentioned this. He actually followed up with a 20-minute video,
Yes.
and I guess you saw it.
Yeah. Well, I saw like the TLDR. Yeah.
Okay.
Of it.
Well, he says, I think I've been slowly devolving into the most mean-spirited, rude, callous, psychopathic version of myself. He also acknowledged that he deserved all the negative responses he got, and that
Yes,
he feels really bad for what he said. Going forward, right, he's going to step down from his leadership on OTK and Starforge. And he says, I think I could be a lot better than what I am now. He plans to resume streaming when the 14-day suspension is up, but to reduce the amount of hours he is live week to week. And that was as of October 16th. The actual ban itself was on the 15th. So
yeah, on the 15th,
it should be wrapping up pretty soon. Yeah, it'll wrap up as of this Tuesday.
Yeah, I believe so. That's correct.
So, I mean, I'm all for giving second chances, right?
Yeah, especially since
what you said was fucked up. I'm sorry, but what you saying?
No, it was fucked. No. I was just saying like it was fucked up what he said, but he doesn't have a history of this kind of behavior. So it really, I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt and say that this was an honest fuck up, a really, really bad fuck up, yes, but an honest one. So we'll see.
Yeah. So I hope he bounces back. I hope whatever's going on in his head, he recovers. Stops being an asshole, right?
And hey, his words, not us.
And as long as he's genuinely sorry about what he did and he makes up for it, he should be okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, but what's not okay?
No, tell me what's not okay, please.
What's not okay is the entire fucking AAA and gaming industry.
What? You mean to tell me the AAA gaming industry is fucked? Nah, say it ain't so.
Yeah, no, it is. I absolutely say so. And apparently, Shawn Layden, former CEO of Sony, also says so because he recently went on to Gamescom Asia, which was just this past week or the week before. He was on a panel talk with a Gordon Van Dyke, who is the co-founder of Swedish game publisher Raw Fury, and they were discussing about the lack of AA games. And Shawn Layden kind of, laid it out that AAA industry is kind of in trouble with the way that they're doing things, because there needs to be more sustainability with it, and there needs to be more of a space for AA games to come up. And so at this panel, he talks about the factors that are going into the rising costs of the development, and why there is what he describes as a crisis of creativity. And that comes down to studio consolidation and the rising costs of production. And the big reason why rising costs of production is happening is because of AAA development cycles taking a very long time. And a lot of that is because, player expectation does get higher, right? Because the quality of AAA has been going up over the years. I mean, sort of. But he also spoke about indie games, about how he thinks indie games provide a good creative space, not only for developers, but also for gamers to experience. But he's also skeptical of the impact of it. Yeah. And he has an interesting quote here where he says, if we're just going to rely on the blockbusters to get us through this, I think that's a death sentence.
Wow, that's pretty blunt for that's crazy.
And he's always been. Here's the cool thing about Shawn Layden: like, he's like one of the few suits that kind of gets it, right? He's always been kind of critical of the AAA space ever since he retired from Sony back in 2019, and Jim Ryan, I'm sorry, took over. And we know what happened to Jim Ryan. He's always been fairly critical of the AAA industry. Back in 2020, he was talking about how AAA budgets are growing unsustainable, and about these games have become way too large in scope. There's too much of an emphasis on like open world games with all like these big bloats, right? And there needs to be a focus on shorter games, which is something that we've been saying here on the podcast, and something that a lot of people have been saying over the years, especially this past year of all these layoffs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts so far?
Well, I mean, it's kind of what we've been harping on. It's just now it's the it's one of the executives. I mean, I'll be a retired executive but it's still an executive that's harping what the gaming community has been saying, that what the AAA industry is doing is completely unsustainable. These we talked about development cycles are getting longer and longer, and it's getting more and more expensive. And because things are getting more and more expensive, no one wants to take a risk on anything. They just want to make what they know will make X amount of money. But yeah, it's mismanagement because they don't know how to spend all this money, and they don't realize that you don't have to spend that much money. And the rising indie scene is showing that you don't have to spend a lot of money to make a good game, and you definitely don't have to spend a lot of money to make a great game that people will love for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, and also an important thing is subscription models as well. Like these companies have been relying more and more on subscription models, and we've seen that not just in the game industry, but also in TV, right? You have like Disney Plus. Yeah, Disney. At first, it was just Netflix, right? Then Hulu came along, then Amazon Prime came along, then Disney Plus came along, and then a million other ones came on. There's one for like British TV. I forgot what the hell it's called. Like, what the fuck is this?
BBC Plus, which honestly sounds really fucking provocative. BBC. I'm pretty sure it's BBC. Let me see BBC.
Oh well, BBC. Make sure you put safe search on when you write that in.
Let me see.
Right, like you have all these streaming services.
Oh, excuse me, BBC Select. Excuse me.
Oh, okay, all right. I hope you put safe search on.
Cowards! You had an opportunity and you blew it.
Streaming and subscription models, which is also something he's been critical of, like most recently, Game Pass.
Yes, absolutely.
Has, been kind of on the rise. Well, it was on the rise when it first started up, and then it kind of, plateaued. And because it plateaued, right, we started getting layoffs and stuff. That's when we lost fucking Hi-Fi Rush.
It's fine.
Thanks, Phil.
It's safe. Hi-Fi Rush is safe. It's okay. But still, fuck Phil. And Booty?
Yeah, Matt Booty.
Fuck you, Matt Booty. But anyway, sorry. That's like a fucking Tourette's like trigger.
I think we've said that like every episode for the past 3 episodes.
I think we have. Fuck you. Fuck Matt Booty.
Yeah, but Shawn Layden in particular also spoke about how the Xbox game model isn't really sustainable either. Like he's saying, I mean, I didn't highlight it here, but the TLDR is like, yeah, like there's only so many people in the world who can spend so much money on a subscription, and eventually you're going to reach a point where you're going to hit the glass ceiling on how many people you can get on your ecosystem. And then at that point, you just have to milk people. But then if you milk people are going to leave. So you have to milk people more. Yeah. And then more people are going to leave, right? And until you eventually reach a point where you just have like your most hardcore base that you're milking the shit out of, right? But even that's not sustainable because, line must go up, right? You can only milk them so many times.
Well, we see it happening right now. As things are getting more and more expensive, the streaming services are increasing their prices like year after year after year. So what you're describing is currently happening. This is not a prediction. We're seeing it live right now. And well, we'll see what happens when the crash comes and what they're going to do. Because, dude, let me tell you, yo ho ho and a bottle of rum is getting more and more enticing with each passing year and each price increase. People are going to be sailing the sea of thieves, if you catch my drift.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, they will. They'll be waving those flags, those black flags, sky high.
Oh yes. Oh my god. But anyway, continue. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Yeah. So there's actually expansion on this with the gamesindustry.biz, which has a really detailed look into what the panel was saying. Also got some more interesting quotes on it. So going back to the indie discussion, Van Dyke asks John about the indie game scene, about whether they provide a beacon of hope. And to that he says, well, I think you're right. We've seen the same phenomenon in the filming industry, right? We've come across to a place where everything is blockbuster, Marvel Cinematic Universe, or it's Sundance Award contender. And then the center, that middle piece, which used to be Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep in Vermont, you can make that movie. People went to the theaters to see it, but those movies and that kind of content found a place to go. It went to Netflix, went to Amazon, to Apple Plus, all different streaming services. It had a place to go. In the gaming business, you have Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, indie stuff. But then the middle piece, layer, that used to be where Interplay, Gremlin, Ocean THQ, all those companies made their money. That middle piece is gone. If you can become AAA, you survive, or if you do something interesting in the indie space, you could. but AA is gone. I think it's a threat to the ecosystem, if you will. So I'm looking at indie stuff with the advent of technologies like the latest Unreal Engine, or what Unity can give you. I think we can say all that standard quality of video games is pretty high now compared to 10 years ago.
I don't know about Unity, but Unreal, yeah.
Well, the Unity engine, you know that Tenet Insomnia game I showed you?
Yeah.
That was made on Unity engine.
Like, oh no, I was saying no. The Unity engine is great. I was thinking more like the pricing model and how it.
But they pretty much abandoned all that stuff. Remember? I think we covered
but
it.
but the reputation's tarnished, dude. Like every time I see Unity, I just look and I think scumbag. So, they fixed it, they walked it back, but only because of the mass outrage. Because damn well if they could have gotten away with it, they would have. So never let them forget that they almost tried to screw game developers in the most egregious way possible. Never forget. Don't let any of them forget.
And so with that death sentence quote I said, here's actually the full one. So now if we can get a bit more interest and excitement exposure for these lower budget, but super creative and super unusual types of games, I'd like to see more of that. Because if we're just going to rely on the blockbuster to get us through, I think that's a death sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the full quote right there.
Well, I mean, what is one example of what they thought was going to be a blockbuster that ended up flopping really fucking hard?
I can name two for you just this year.
What's the most... Well, you know what? Name them both. I think I already know what one of them is.
Well, first one was a little game called Suicide Squad. Killed the Justice League.
Yep.
And the only suicide was happening was over at WB Studios and their fucking profit margins. As they committed suicide that costed $200 million.
Literal seppuku, bro.
And then, of course, more recently, and arguably more... Well, actually not even arguably. Factually more infamous... somehow managed to top Suicide Squad of how shitty it was. It's Concord.
Yeah, there you go. And that was... What did Sony say? The future
Star Wars of Sony, right? The future of Sony.
The live service model that will be emulated for years to come. Wow. Holy shit. Wow. They could not have been more... Oh, man. They could not have been more wrong. That's incredible.
They were... that one cost them $400 million. Well, it was $200 million on Sony's part, and then $200 million doing whatever the fuck they were doing before. Whatever their company they were with before. So the reason why I brought this story up is because this kind of lines up with what other people have actually been saying. So actually, not just Shawn Layden has been commenting on the AAA industry lately, but also... the chief creative officer of Saber Interactive, Tim Willits, was commenting on Warhammer's Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2. God, so many words.
Yeah.
And its success, and comments on why big budget games are just failing, and that's because, according to him, these games are being overscoped. Right? They're just being way too big, and they're taking way too fucking long to make. I mean, Suicide Squad. 9 years, like almost 10 years for that bullshit. And then Concord was like 8 years. So,
yeah, it's some serious bullshit.
And obviously, the more time you spend making a game, the more you have to pay people. And the more you have to pay people, the bigger your budget has to be. So what Willits has to say is, it's one of the things that we try to do at Saber, and this is part of my job as creative officer of all the teams. We have a core belief that what you do every second and what happens when you push these buttons and the core gameplay loop is so critical. So we focus on the moment-to-moment interaction, the gameplay, and feeling you have. And then we adhere to our core pillars, like be the ultimate Space Marine, melee, rage, swarms. That's it. Lots of teams throughout development will overscope games. They look at some other game that they have just came out and say, oh, we got to do that. Let's add this. We got to do this. And they lose focus on the core, what actually makes the game fun. We are not in Space Marine 2 doing things that, well, the swarms are new technology, but there isn't some revolutionary new gameplay mechanic that no one ever seen before. There are gameplay mechanics that people are familiar with, but we do it really, really well, and we execute really, really well. So TLDR, bro, just make a good game. Just make a good game. Make a game. Good focused be focused, because Space Marine is like perfect.
Yes.
In what it represents, like it's just such a great remedy for the AAA, nonsense that we had to deal with this past year.
Yeah, the campaign length was beautiful. And then everything that came after that was strictly player interaction with the environment or player interaction with other players. So, and now they're going to keep adding to it, and that's how they'll continue to engage with the community. So no, I wholeheartedly agree. Do not make it too big. Just make it focused. And if you can find a way to innovate and save money, like do that. But don't cut corners to save money. Innovate to save money. That's the key word. That's what they should be doing.
Well, I mean, it's not cutting corners to the problem. It's actually the opposite. It's adding more corners to it. It's like, let's add corners, and then we're going to add corners to these corners. And then, hey, I don't like this corner. Let me add some more corners to my corners, so when I corner, I can corner the corner.
Okay, all right. I guess I missed that analogy where they're adding corners. But still, they really should focus on innovating within a game, maybe streamlining code or something. Because, yeah. Actually, you know what? I'm going to stick with that, streamlining. And it adds to your comment about corners, which in this case means bloat, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Right.
Bloat.
So on the subject of development costs, it says about how it's become out of control, and he insists that Space Marine 2 was affordably made with a budget less than half of Doom Eternal, which is like the last game he worked on. Ooh. And Warhammer is like the fastest selling Warhammer. I'm sorry, Space Marine 2 is the fastest selling Warhammer game ever, and it's sold like 2 million copies, and they've already considered it a success, pretty much. Meanwhile, you got places like Square with Tomb Raider selling like 5 million copies, and somehow, some way, that's still considered a fucking flop in some way. And to that effect, Willett says, we don't need to sell 4 million copies to make it a success. There are many games, sadly, especially out of North American developers, where if you do not sell 5 million copies, you are a failure. I mean, what business are you in where you fail if you sell less than 5 million? He continues, there are examples like that, and we do not want to be that business. We want to be a developer that focuses on the core experience, what makes the games actually fun, and then do it really well, and then make it affordably. Look at SnowRunner, dude. SnowRunner is literally driving trucks through mud. That's it. I'm done. I just described the game. 15 million people played it because the experience is perfect. Look at World War Z. Like, come on. We're not going to get any Academy Award for that game, but 25 billion people have played it because it's just this perfectness, and that's what we do well.
Yeah.
Yeah, find your niche and just focus on that, right?
Yeah, dude, focus it, perfect it.
Elden Ring sold 25 fucking million copies. And that's because Baldur's Gate 2, right? I mean, yeah, Baldur's Gate is actually kind of an exception because that game's like massive in scope, right? So.
Yeah, but it's still niche. Like this is a game that Larian has been like a type of game that Larian has been working on forever, and they've been working with this engine for a long, long time. So this is their niche in a sense. It's one of those. It's an exception in that how big it exploded, you know. But same thing. Larian, they knew exactly the game they wanted to make, and they have experience making that type of game. And this was their magnum opus. This was a culmination. Well, again, sucking this game's dick for the umpteenth time.
Never enough.
This is the culmination of all of their successes and failures that they've had with the Divinity series. And my God.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with Elden Ring. Like Elden Ring is all the lessons that they learned from all the Souls games they've made, that FromSoft learned. Yeah. And they just threw that shit in a blender and made some fucking pristine ass video games.
Fine Italian cuisine. Well, you know, that's my favorite, John, like my favorite food, Italian food. So, fine.
And then lastly, we have the director of the recently released Metaphor Fantagio, which is a great game, by the way, Katsuhiro Hashino, talking about how secret to making a great RPG in his mind is adding a human touch to it. He says, I want something, even if it's not complete, even if it's really rough, even if it's something really unfinished, to give me a glimpse of the humanity behind it. And adds, I feel like if you have to have these super highly polished games that look like they were designed by a bunch of people in CEO boardroom, that doesn't really excite me. It doesn't interest me.
We understand 100%, sir.
And Metaphor is also an interesting example because that game does cut corners, right? Like I spoke about this last episode. It looks like a PS4 game, but that game's hard style goes fucking hard, right? And that's something Atlas specializes in. That's like their weakness was graphics, right? But then they made up for it with stylization, right? They're clearly not interested in blowing a ton of money on making their games look, super high fidelity where you see every individual pore of the protagonist's butthole, right? It's just they just like, oh, we're just gonna make our game look really pretty, gonna have a really nice art style with a nice color scheme, and we're gonna have like these cool UI elements that we're gonna add to it. And you're not gonna worry too much about textures, right? Because you look at the textures up close, they look like shit. It looks like a PS4 game. Now, of course, I'm playing it like on 2K, so it's not gonna be that bad. But like, I imagine like on a PS4, because it's on PS4, you can actually buy it on PS4. Buy it on PS4, it's probably gonna look like shit. It's probably gonna run like shit. But it's still like the fastest selling Atlas game ever, and it sold 1 million copies in like 3 days, I think. Who knows how many it sold up to this point?
Yeah, for sure.
And that game is also like everything that Atlas has learned up until that point. Everything they've done. Because it's pretty much everything that's great about Shin Megami Tensei and everything great about Persona thrown into a game.
So we have a lot. Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of examples of successful games and why they're successful, and what. And to his point about the humanity behind a game, I think that's really important because people forget gaming is an art form, and without the humanity, it's soulless. There's nothing to really look at. It's kind of like these AI art pieces. It's just kind of a mishmash of shit, or it's a copy of something that was made by humans. Actually, I think some of the AI art that I actually like all look like Renaissance paintings, and those were made by people. Because after all, AI, that's its weakness. It like references things, but when you have a human putting their heart and soul into something, it shows. Especially when it comes to Atlas and the art style. Because, dude, like, I mean, I see it a little bit in Metaphor with Fantasio, but I also see it in Persona 5 because that's the game I actually played. Dude, everything. The menu, when you open it, fucking, like, goes and swings. You select different options. Literally, the character moves and does motions. You click on a menu item, moves again with a gun and shit. Like, God, the style's fucking awesome. And you could tell somebody did that on purpose. Someone put, thought into it. And the same thing can be said about the music in games as well.
Yeah, so any other thoughts before we move on?
Not necessarily, man. Well, I mean, now the developers and the suits, like you said, now they're the ones telling it like it is. Because, after all, we're commoners. We're the consumer. What the fuck do we know, right? But now they're the ones saying it. So now it's a big deal.
Yeah, and I didn't include it, but earlier, like a few days ago, a head over at Larian, I forgot like what position he was in. He was commenting about how
oh yeah, I did see
Ubisoft was like, they were like, Ubisoft, what the fuck are you doing? Like, Prince of Persia shouldn't have been a failure because it was reported that Prince of Persia was a financial failure.
Yes.
And he's like, yeah, this should not have been a failure. This is because you guys have completely mismanaged your entire brand and you have been mismanaged your platforms, right? You insist on putting it on Uplay instead of putting it on Steam.
Yeah.
I mean, they did put it on Steam, but like the game came out in January and it came out on Steam in August. So like the ship already sailed by then.
Yeah, exactly.
And he also talked about like how like unrealistic sales expectations for it, right? Because it's clearly like a lower budget game, but it's a game that's made with a ton of love. Like it's a game that doesn't have amazing graphical fidelity, but it's beautiful to look at because it has a great art style. And the gameplay is amazing. Like it has really badass combat and has great traversal and movement and a cool world to explore and make use of that traversal.
Yeah. Yeah, mismanagement. And you can tell Ubisoft, like, they always realize it when it's too late. Like with the whole thing with Star Wars Outlaws, where they had an emergency meeting, like, you know what, we're just gonna put it on Steam like now, and we're not gonna wait, when it should have just been done from the beginning. Again, Gaben wins by doing nothing. But yeah, I did read that tweet from the Larry, and I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I don't know if it was like an exec or a dev, but yeah, he essentially called out Ubisoft like, "Yo, are you stupid? How do you fumble this shit?" But yeah, any more thoughts on state of AAA and why it's non-sustainable and it will crash and burn?
Nothing that we haven't said a million times before.
Yeah, but I'm glad that people that matter are saying it, because now maybe people will start taking it seriously if it's not already too late. But yeah.
All right. So let's move on, shall we? Because we've been out here for a while. We've been recording for a long time. This is a long episode, dude.
Oh God, sorry. Wow, I guess we had a lot to say.
We had a lot to say. We had a lot of stuff to cover. All right. So for our final story, this one's this is gonna be like more like a tribute to a very important man, and that very important man is Nobuo Uematsu.
Look at that face.
The face of a genius right there, of a musical genius.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry to cut you off, but first glance, that looked like Bobby Lee.
He doesn't look like Bobby.
I'm sorry. I don't mean any disrespect. Yeah.
Okay.
Continue.
But so this has been updated since, but originally it was thought that he was going to be retiring, as he said that Fantasia Neo Dimension was going to be the last video game he was going to do music for. And so, of course, everyone got really sad, right? Because, you know, Nobuo Uematsu is very important and talented musician. And you may not know his name, but you do know his music. Mm-hmm. And I know you haven't played a Final Fantasy game, but I know that you have heard Final Fantasy music. And
of course,
he worked on the very first Final Fantasy and has worked on a huge number of them since. And many Final Fantasy tracks are absolutely iconic. But let's start with the very first one, the one when you boot up any Final Fantasy game. You can hear that, right? Yeah.
Of course. Everyone knows this one.
So of course, right, that's kind of like, you know, the melody that almost started like his career, right? Because he's never really composed music. At that time, he was kind of new to composing. But then he went on to pretty much trailblaze and start a legendary career working for Square Enix and making music for Final Fantasy. And, indeed, well, one of the most famous tracks that he has made. And even if you haven't played this game, right, you probably do know the track, right? Because you probably heard it in Kingdom Hearts.
Yep.
And that would be One Winged Angel, which is Sephiroth's theme.
My worst nightmare.
Yep. Right. This track has haunted Final Fantasy players and Kingdom Hearts players alike for like 20 plus years at this point.
Indeed.
Yeah. Like. Oh fuck. Okay.
Oh, okay. I was like.
No. Let's get to the good part, bro. There we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a track that you heard and you know you're fucked.
Yup.
This was, oh shit, right? Because I remember in Kingdom Hearts, right? I'm like, who the fuck is this Sephiroth guy? He's got really long hair and his music sounds kind of cool. Wait, that's a big ass sword he's got there. Okay.
And then
literally he proceeds to chop wreck your little 8-year-old ass. Right? And you're like, what the fuck just happened? So that's just another example
Shit's crazy, dude.
Of the amazing music that Uematsu has made. But also, this one is a more underrated one, but this is something that more hardcore Final Fantasy fans would know, and this is from Final Fantasy VI, and this is actually the final theme, the boss theme for Kefka, who is the final boss of Final Fantasy VI. And actually, I actually like this track more, because it's so thematic with like what the game is going.
It's so.
I'll listen to it first. It's got a big percentage.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm gonna skip around a bit. Come on, get to the good part. I'll speed this up if you don't. There we go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there we go. When the opera hits, bro. There we go. Hold on. Sorry, I gotta let it play out. gonna be a little longer because I really like this track. So yeah, that track is called Dancing Mad, and that track is absolutely amazing because the whole thing with Final Fantasy VI is that it was a big like steampunk Victorian era motif to it, and in one of the most famous scenes in that game is that there's an opera scene where you have to perform an opera, and of course opera during the Victorian era was huge, so it's only suitable if the final boss has a whole huge opera song devoted to him, right? And it's just an amazing build up. And as you fight the boss, like you start off in like hell, right? It's very like I said, it's very thematic, right? It helps to see it also with the visuals as well.
Of course.
Whoops. Right, yeah, so the whole thing is supposed to be like a reference to like Dante's Inferno and stuff. So
yeah,
start off like in hell and you go up to purgatory, and then you go from purgatory
to paradise.
Yeah, to paradise. Right, and then you fight, God himself at this point. Like every good JRPG, right? You're always gonna fight God.
Yep. First mission, save the cat. Final mission, okay, kill God.
Kill God. There you go. And so, Final Fantasy isn't the only thing he's worked on. He's also worked on another game that I absolutely adore, and this is a game that I adore. It's actually my favorite JRPG of all time, and that would be Chrono Trigger. And I'll play a little bit. Oh, I guess it didn't go through. Here we go, this one. Yes, I don't know if you played. Did you play Chrono Trigger? No.
I've seen you play it, but I personally have never played Chrono Trigger.
Well, this one's fucking amazing, and of course it has great music.
I know, of course it does. This is one of those, like, games that define a generation type shit. I know the history of it. I know this was a very influential game.
Yeah, the thing with Chrono Trigger, like it was like the star team, right? You had like all these Final Fantasy developers fresh off Final Fantasy VI, and then they were working with Nobuo Uematsu to make the music for it, and they also had Akira Toriyama doing the character designs for it. That's why they look all like Dragon Ball Z characters.
Yeah, Dragon Ball characters. Yeah. That was the little dream team, dude. Yeah, it's funny because I remember I brought up to you. I was like, "Hey, why do they look like Dragon Ball characters?" And then you told me the creator of Dragon Ball essentially did the character designs.
And it also has pretty badass boss music too.
Oh fuck yeah! This is a good beat. I love the comment when the cockroach flies.
Yeah, I saw that too. I laughed when I first saw this.
Oh, good shit.
All right, and there's actually another one. There's one more here. I'm gonna edit it out because Nintendo's gonna come for our asses if I play it on YouTube. So I'm just gonna put the reaction. But I'm gonna have you listen to it, right? So apparently, what were you gonna say?
No. Go. I'll say later.
Apparently, he's worked with more than just Final Fantasy and Chrono Trigger and thanks to Squaresoft, but he actually did one track for a Nintendo game, a very particular Nintendo game that's very near and dear to many people around the world, has been responsible for many childhoods, and that would be Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Yep. And
Nobuo Uematsu just happened to make the best theme out of any Smash Bros. Theme title.
Yep.
So yeah, needless to say, right, Nobuo Uematsu is responsible for a lot of bangers, man. And while
bangers.
Yeah, while he's not fully retiring from making video game music, he isn't gonna do like full soundtracks, which is what the update is. He said, like in a social media post, he said, "Look, I'm not retiring. I'm just not gonna make full-on soundtracks anymore. I might, could make a contribution here or there, but I'm not gonna do anything massive anymore."
Yeah. Well, I mean, from what the tweet says, it makes it sound like he's going to essentially focus on making the music that he wants. Kind of like, I don't know, would you consider it hobby-ish type?
I suppose so. I mean, he's definitely going to be more selective with it. I mean, he's probably rolling in dough because this guy, he's made so much amazing music and probably has made tons of money off of it.
Absolutely, bro. The music kind of like in the same vein as, Hans Zimmer or John Williams, like the music he made is just a part of the product as the rest of the of the game. The gameplay, the story, and of course the music. So good. I never knew his name, but I definitely knew his music, and now I'm glad that I have a name and a face to put to that name.
Yes, and what a face it is! Look at what a jovial man he is.
Live long and prosper, my friend. You deserve it.
Well, he's only 65. He's got a few more decades in him.
Absolutely.
All right. So, any other thoughts before we sign off?
No other thoughts. Let me know when to sign off, sir.
Yeah, let's sign off now, dude. I think we've been on long enough.
I think we have been, yes. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this episode of the Two Bar Connection. We really appreciate you guys toughing it out for these 2.5 hours of us talking. And we really appreciate you guys listening to the podcast. Please leave a like if you like the video. Subscribe for more for updates to the channel. You can also leave a comment down below if there's any stories you want us to cover, or if there's a conversation that you want us to continue in the comment section. We are available, of course, on YouTube, first and foremost. However, for the audio only, we are available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Amazon Music. And thank you very much.
So, thank you guys for listening. Also, don't be a stranger to us over on Twitter. No, I will not call it X. We are on Twitter. We're at 2Bar Podcast. I think we're the only at 2Bar Podcast. Hopefully, I didn't pay Elon for exclusive names, so who knows if there's some botchers out there. But be sure to check us out on there. Yeah, the description, right? Be sure to check us out there. And again, thank you guys for listening. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Peace.
Bye, everybody.